Chapter 3850? Fifth more. From beginning to end, Jian Wushuang behaved very casually, was very safe, and felt extremely confident. In fact, Jian Wushuang is certainly confident, Lord of Yuten, but a ruler. When Jian Wushuang was weak in the early days, he ran through the realm of the gods. One of the rulers of His Majesty's majesty. He doesn't need to call the Lord of the Heavens at all now. He just said hello to the three leaders of the heavenly palace. This is enough. With his current strength and status, a casual word is enough to shake the mountain in the early days. Even if he greets at will, the three palace lords who cut the Tianmeng didn't dare to neglect. Immediately the Lord of Yuten was reached as quickly as possible. As for the next, the saints from Yuten Palace were scorned by Jian Wushuang. They did not believe what Jian Wushuang said. They thought that Jian Wushuang was playing with them. Not only them, but even Hu Yang thought so. He also worried about his teacher. But when the woman in the purple clothes was about to take down the sword Wushuang, in their hearts, the Lord of Yuten actually passed them on. Palace, has the messenger been heard? The woman in the purple dress froze slightly, but when she saw the content of the message, the woman in the purple dress was pale and frightened, and an unprecedented terror appeared in her eyes. This was the messenger of the Lord of Yuten. Stupid, what are you doing? Immediately, give the one in front of you, and wipe out the anger of the other party at all costs. If the other party is even dissatisfied with you afterwards, a few of you, as well as those close to you, including your teacher or friends, wash your neck and wait to be slaughtered. Yuten's lord was obviously really angry. There was even a deep panic in that anger. This panic was felt by several women in the purple clothes. How can this be? The woman in purple and the undead saints from Yuten Palace are trembling at the moment. From the words of Yuten's lord, they realize that they may be a real superexistence in front of them, even better than their lord. The Lord of Yuten is even stronger. Is it the master of the top rules from the early world of the gods, or even the master? The woman in purple thought in horror. As an elder of Yuten Palace, she knows more about Yuten's secret realm than others. She knows that she is only in the secret territory of one side of the world, and their lord of the palace is only a ruler in the pre-god world. And in that early divine realm, there were many rulers who were stronger than the main rule of his palace. Chances are they've met one now. Taking a deep breath, the figure of the woman in purple immediately fell down. In the sword hall, everyone was waiting for the reaction of the purple women. When they saw the purple women falling down, they thought their women were about to start. But in the end, the woman in purple came to Jian Wushuang, but she knelt down on one knee directly. I'm offended when I don't know the identity of the adult. The adult can dispose and punish me etc. at will, but I also ask the adult to know for those who are not guilty, they can open up and let me wait for my life. The woman in purple was kneeling there, her head was very low, and the other undead saints were also kneeling down there. The atmosphere did not dare to come out. Silence! The entire sword hall was dead. The cold old man and the young man in the golden robe felt at this moment an unprecedented chill that filled their whole body and mind. The 9 elders of the magnificent Wutan Palace, one of the highest powers in Wutan's secret realm, are kneeling down at the owner of the Sword Museum, asking for their lives? No, how is this possible? The cold old man's eyes also rounded. Teacher. Hu Yang looked at Jian Wushuang in wonder. The owner. The disciples in the sword hall were equally trembling. Jian Wushuang only smiled slightly. I said, just do it, Yuten Palace should not be held to my disciples. Dare. The woman in purple shook her head again and again. At this juncture, let alone Hu Yang just killed a core disciple of Yuten Palace. Even if Hu Yang killed most of the core disciples of Yuten Palace, she would never dare to say more. Okay, you can go, but when you go, take these guys along for me too. My Jindian temple is too small to tolerate them. Jian Wushuang pointed at the cold old man and Jin. The 2 young men in robes smiled. Yes. The woman in purple clothes nodded respectfully. After getting up, she said nothing to directly use the means to capture the cold old man and the young man in the golden robe, and then took away the undead saints of Yuten Palace. In the early morning, the woman in purple clothes waited for the sword house to calm down again. Okay, they are all separated, go and practice swordsmanship. Jian Wushuang waved his hand and walked towards the backyard. Teacher. Hu Yang wants to keep up but pauses on the way. He wanted to know who his teacher was, what his amazing identity was, and why even the elders of Yuten Palace had to kneel before him. But Jian Wushuang obviously did not intend to tell him what he meant. The sword museum calmed down again, but what happened before was really seen clearly by many sword museum disciples. These disciples were all excited and were guessing the identity and strength of the museum owner. Not only that, the incident also passed through these disciples and soon spread within the city. But it was only in this city, and it could not be transmitted to other places, so it passed, and there was almost nothing to believe. These people who have lived in the secret world of Yuten since their birth have long recognized that Yuten's secret realm is heaven and earth, and the Lord of Yuten is the strongest being. Strong, they dare not think about it. 10 days later. Hu Yang. Jian Wushuang called Hu Yang over. Teacher Hu Yang is very respectful. After a while, someone will come to visit the sword museum. You wait at the door, wait for him to come, and take him directly to me. Jian Wushuang instructed. Hu Yang nodded respectfully, even if he immediately waited for the gate of the sword hall. After a while, someone came to the gate of sword house. This is an old man dressed in black, with a thin body and a goatee's beard. This old man has a unique breath, at least Hu Yang cannot see the truth. Dare you ask your excellency to come to visit the teacher? Hu Yang looked at the person. Yes, you are the little friend of Populus Euphratica, right? The goat-bearded old man smiled. End of this chapter. Dear, click in and give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that a beautiful wife was found at the end of the new score. Chapter 3851. Sixth more. Hu Yang's friend. Hu Yang smiled slightly. Sir, come with me. Hu Yang immediately led the goatee-bearded man to the inner courtyard. In the courtyard, still under the old tree, Jian Wushuang and the two sat there with tea in front of them. Teacher, it's here, Hu Yang said. Yuten, meet Lord Giantian Hu and Madam. The goatee-bearded man immediately saluted. Yuten. Hu Yang stunned. In the secret territory of Wutan, everyone knows that the most powerful is the master of Yuten, so most people will avoid these two words when they are named. And the person in front of him is called Yuten? Don't all of you in Yuten's secret realm regard Yuten's lord as a god? Why is this standing in front of you and you don't recognize it? Leng Rushuang smiled lightly. Hu Yang fiercely stared. He had understood what Leng Rushuang meant. Yuten, are you Lord of Yuten? Hu Yang man looked at the goat-bearded old man inconceivably. Oten Lord, in this Yuten's secret territory, that is the supreme deity, who controls everything. The practitioners in this secret realm start from birth, and they believe in this Yuten Lord. Populus Euphratica is no exception. But now, the supreme deity in his heart even stood in front of him, and in front of his teacher, it was obviously very respectful and restrained. And then thought that the Lord of Uten had just described himself as a friend of Populus Euphratica. Hu Yang just felt his head full of cyanosis. Oh my God, teacher, what is there? Why is Yuten's lord so respectful to him? Hu Yang growled in his heart. Okay, Poplar, go down first. Jian Wushuang waved. Hu Yangmu nodded his head, then walked out of the courtyard, but apparently he hadn't recovered when he left. Inside the courtyard. Master of Yuten, sit down. Jian Wushuang waved. Don't dare. Lord Yuten stood there, very restrained. He is of course restrained. He is not as ignorant as the cultivation in this secret realm. He is very clear about the existence of the person in front of him. That was one of the strongest gods in the early days. Although it was only the ruler of the rule, it was enough to be tied with the master. Even the masters of the early gods were faintly led by him. He is the lord of the void realm. In the face of such a super-existence, it is good to not kneel down directly. How dare he sit down? Lord of Yuten, did you come for that thing 10 days ago? Jian Wushuang asked with a smile. Yes. The Lord of Yuten nodded quickly. 10 days ago, my subordinates didn't know Taishan and offended your lord. I have punished them severely, but today I came to the Lord intentionally. You paid for it. In fact, Jian Wushuang said at the time that things were over, that is to say, they would not be held accountable, but the Lord of Yuten took the initiative to pay for his crimes. That matter is over. I won't blame you anymore, Jian Wushuang laughed. Listening to Jian Wushuang's own words, the Lord of Yuten was relieved. By the way, Lord of Yuten, you are the ruler of His Majesty's rule, and you are still at the core level. Then you should know about the triple path, right? Jian Wushuang looked over. Of course I know, and I have been practicing in that second Dao realm before, but only after that happened 10 days ago, I immediately rushed over from the Dao realm. Lord Yuten respectfully said, the triple path realm is of great use to the early divine realm. At the beginning, Xianshen did not use this treasure to all the high-level practitioners in the early divine realm, but only selected some of them who had a good faith and secretly entered the triple path to cultivate. But after thousands of years, most of the undead saints who entered them broke through and became the masters of the rules, and the masters of the rules have also greatly improved their strength, plus a few of the gods themselves. Cultivation in the third Dao realm fully affirmed the efficacy of the triple Dao realm. Therefore, this treasure began to be used by many high-level practitioners in the early gods. In the 2000 years, there have been a large number of undead saints in the early gods, and the masters of many rules have been sent to the triple path. Among them, the Lord of Yuten is himself a ruler of the core layer of the Heavenly Alliance, and of course he is also qualified to enter the triple realm. Have you been cultivating in the triple realm before? Jian Wushuang looked and asked, how effective is the practice? It's amazing. In less than 1,000 years, I have already mastered one more rule. From the void realm to the void realm. This is the reason why my talent is more general. Several of them entered at the same time as me. The ruler of the second Dao realm has been ascending 2 realms in succession. This triple Dao realm is definitely an incredible place. Yuten Lord exclaimed. After that, he did not forget to glance at Jian Wushuang quietly, because there is a rumor in the Triple Path realm that said that the Triple Path Real was brought back from the universe battlefield by Jian Wushuang. It seems that the improvement of the strength of the senior Taoist practitioners in the Triple Realm is really good. Jian Wushuang nodded secretly and then said, okay, nothing is wrong, you can go back and practice well. Yes. Lord Yuten left immediately. In the courtyard, only Jian Wushuang and his wife remained. Before, we just wanted to find a quiet place to live a quiet life, but after the incident of 10 days ago, we were afraid that it would be difficult to continue a quiet life here. Cold as frost. It doesn't matter, we can just change places. Jian Wushuang smiled. Nodded coldly. In recent years, he and Jian Wushuang have traveled all over the world together, and have come to this secret world to live an indisputable life, really very happy. This happiness, of course, she wants to continue as long as possible. Jian Wushuang also knew this, and he was willing to accompany his wife. Suddenly. Jian Wushuang's look suddenly changed. What's wrong? Leng Rushuang looked over. Shuang, I'm sorry. Jian Wushuang frowned and said apologetically. The frost was immediately clear. Is Xingong? Leng Rushuang asked. Jian Wushuang nodded. Xianshen just sent me a message saying something happened to Xingong and asked me to go as soon as possible. That being the case, then go. Leng Rushuang smiled slightly without paying any attention. But Jian Wushuang is still a little apologetic, because he just said that he would take the cold place to the next place to continue this quiet life, but in a blink of an eye he had to go back to the Star Palace. Go, don't forget, you are the biggest pillar of Taichu God Realm. Taichu God Realm needs you. Leng Rushuang whispered softly. Jian Wushuang nodded. Emperor Jiutian. Chapter 3852. The first is more. In the Sword Hall, Jian Wushuang called Hu Yang. Hu Yang, my master and I will leave here soon, Jian Wushuang said directly. Leave? Hu Yang said for a moment. Teacher, where are you going? Beyond this world, it should be a very remote place for you, and this sword house, I intend to give it to you. Jian Wushuang looked at Hu Yang. With a wave of his hand, a sword in tension rushed directly into the body of Hu Yang. I left a kendo in your body. This sword in tension barely reached the threshold of the ruler. You can learn by yourself. If, in the future, you can fully understand and grasp the meaning of this sword, you can leave this world and come to me, and I will accept you as a named disciple. Do you understand the sword? Hu Yang clenched his hands. The disciples must work hard. Okay. Jian Wushuang nodded. After the explanation, he left with cold as frost. As for the sword hall, he opened it casually. Many disciples in the sword hall and Jian Wushuang also admired Hu Yang a little, but he only admired Hu Yang's heart. He left a sword meaning, this sword meaning. It is difficult to fully grasp the talents of Hu Yang. This is also a severe test for Hu Yang. If he could really grasp that sword in the future, Jian Wushuang would not mind accepting him as a named disciple. After leaving Wutan's secret realm, Leng Rushuang chose to return to the ancient holy realm, and Jian Wushuang immediately left and rushed to the Star Palace. Within the horoscope, the alert is obviously much stricter than before. When Jian Wushuang came to Xingong, the Shen Shinto, the Lord of Time and Space, the Lord of Heaven and the Heavenly Ancestor were already waiting there. Tianho Xiao, I'm sorry to disturb you and your wife. Xian Shindao apologized. Anyway, let's be serious. Jian Wushuang said in a deep voice. This time some of you were so anxious to call me over. What should have happened to Xingong? Yes, I am in a crisis this time, Xian Shindao said. Crisis? Is it the ancient night magic palace? Jian Wushuang frowned. The overall strength of the Star Palace is now extremely arrogant. Not only does it have its own place, but only a few of the Shinto people, it is the four masters of the fighting force, and the existence of thousands of rules, such strength, in the Star Domain. The only person who can bring a crisis to the Star Palace is the ancient Night Demon Palace created by the ancient Night Demon King. Yes. Xian Shen nodded, and then began to narrate in detail. Things are caused by the Triple Path. This rule is a treasure. The Triple Path realm is counterproductive. At the beginning we did not use this Triple Path realm in the whole Taiji world, but as one practitioner entered the Triple Path realm, his strength was significantly improved. In order to upgrade Taichu as soon as possible, the combat power of the Divine Realm began to impress the delay in the early Divine Realm, and convened a large number of powerful men from all sides to practice in it. Although these were all completed in the Taichu Divine Realm, even in the Taichu Divine Realm, there were eyeliners and spies from other astral realms, as well as those forces in this astral realm. In the world, the powerful parties of this star domain have also received the news, and this news naturally reached the ancient Night Magic Palace. Ancient Night Magic Palace is now the absolute overlord of this star field, and judging from the style of the ancient Night Magic Lord, he has always been extremely domineering. Before, it was just because my Star Palace was weak, and the ancient Night Magic Palace it doesn't look at us, but the magic of this triple world now marches countless powerful people in this star field, and the ancient Night Magic Palace naturally became interested. Just a few days ago, the monarch and his majesty of the ancient Night Demon Palace came to my Star Palace. Juanjin dominates? Jian Wushuang looked. He also knows that the ruler of this monarch is a lone master in this star domain. Its combat power is relatively strong among the high masters, and he is deceitful. He must be resentful with many major forces in this star domain. After the rise of the Demon King, the Beihai Palace was destroyed and the ancient Night Demon King was created. The monarch ruled and then worshipped the ancient Night Demon Palace and became a master of the ancient Night Demon King. After the ruler of that monarch arrived, he directly proposed that the Triple Path realm, of course he said it better, saying that the ancient Night Demon Prince was very interested in this Triple Path realm, and wanted to borrow to play and wait for a while. Time will send me back to the Xing Palace again. Xian Shinto sneered. This kind of deception to a 3-year-old child, we will naturally not believe it. We refused to give him the Triple Path, and the monarch and his lord immediately turned his face with us and even fought. However, although this monarch and his lord's strength is good, he is considered to be very strong among the higher lords, but the four of us these years have also been cultivated in the triple path, and the strength has greatly improved. Coupled with those strongest treasures you brought back from Xiaoho Xiaoyu before, we easily passed him off. Of course, for the sake of the ancient Night Demon King, we just defeated him and let him go, but when he went back, he informed the ancient Night Demon King of it, and also said jealously to me the palace humiliated him violently, angered the ancient Night Demon Prince, and directly rumored that within 10 years, I, the Star Palace Lord, was required to take the triple path to personally go to the ancient Night Demon Palace to pay guilt, otherwise he would directly take a shot and completely destroy my star house. After the mysterious Shinto man spoke, his look was obviously with a touch of worry. Not only him, but also the three mysterious gods, the Ancestor and the Ancestor of Heaven. Although in the past few years they have cultivated in the third realm, their strength has been greatly improved, but they can only kill the ancient Night Demon King dominated by Yu with only one move. They are a little bit faced with no confidence. I understand. After Jian Wushuang heard it, he nodded slightly. He has understood the cause and effect of this matter. It is nothing more than that the triple path world is too magical, which caused the ravages of that ancient night magic palace. But the triple path realm is the rule of treasure he brought out from the Red Cloud realm. It has unprecedented use for the entire Taichu deity. How would the mysterious god surrender this triple path realm? Heavenly friend, we are calling you this time, and we want to discuss countermeasures together to see how we can resolve this crisis in the Shinggong Palace, said the Master of Space and Time. The triple path can never be surrendered, there is no doubt about it. Yes. The Ancestor and Tianzu both nodded. Xian, in my opinion, it is better to just abandon the Shinggong Palace. We will go directly to the Taichi God realm, and we will not come out of the Taichi God realm in the future. Your ancient Night Demon King is strong, but as long as we stay in the Taichi God realm, he also has nothing to do with us. The Celestial Alliance Lord said lowly. Chapter 3853. Second more. Abandon the horoscope? Several of the masters present were stunned. If they directly abandoned the Shinggong Palace, and they all returned to the early divine realm, then the ancient Night Demon King did not take them at all. After all, in the early days, the realm of God was exclusive from the outside world. The ancient Night Demon King was even stronger. In the early shooting world, he could only maintain the power of the ruler. His combat power was at best enough to reach the master. Long life, otherwise you dare not venture into it. But the key is that the Star Palace has existed in this star field for so many years, more or less, and has more strength. Apart from that, there are thousands of rulers in the Star Palace alone. This is a very powerful combat force. In the future, the battle with Devil Star will be used. It is a pity to abandon it like this. And once they choose this way, then they are destined to hide in the early world of the gods in the future, unable to come to the universe battlefield. When it breaks, it breaks. In my opinion, it is the most unfortunate way to directly abandon the Shinggong. Now that we have the triple path, we can easily create a large number of rulers in the early world of God, and even many masters. As for the supreme treasure, one of Tianhao's friends brought it back from the Red Cloud realm before. We can use it enough. Even if we do come to the universe battlefield in a short time, it is not a problem. Tianzu also said. I agree. The Lord of Time and Space also nodded. Xianshan, the Lord of the Celestial Sect, the Lord of Space and Time, and the Heavenly Ancestor all looked at the Xianshinto. The Shinggong was created by the Xianshan Taoists. It must be abandoned directly. The most reluctant one is naturally Xianshan. Xuanshen's brow frowned deeply, and his heart was full of hesitation. But before waiting for Xianshan to reply, Jian Wushuang suddenly said, in fact, this matter has not yet reached the point where the Shinggong will be abandoned. Ha! Xianshan looked up immediately. The other three masters also immediately looked at Jian Wushuang. Tianho Xiaoyu, do you have another way to get out of this crisis in the Shinggong? The Master of Time and Space asked. The solution is there, and it's very simple. I went directly to the ancient Night Demon Palace and talked to the ancient Night Demon King. Jian Wushuang smiled. What kind of method is this? The Lord of Time and Space frowned. The ancient night demon monarch is overbearing, and his strength is overwhelming. If you go to him, he may kill you without saying a word. This is not the solution. Heavenly friend, this method is impossible for you at all. The ancient night devil is definitely not that hard to listen to you. Unless your strength is strong enough, you can compete against him or let him do nothing to you, so maybe I will listen to you. Tianzu said. I should have such strength. Jian Wushuangdo. What? Xianshan Taoist, Lord of Time and Space, Lord of Heaven and Earth, and Heavenly Ancestor all looked at Jian Wushuang together. Tianho Xiaoyu, you just said, you have the strength to compete with the ancient night demon king? Are you sure? The mysterious man with a mysterious face. You know, the ancient night demon prince killed the top master with one stroke. The formerly recognized strongest player in the star domain, Yu, was dominated by this ancient night demon lord. He was scared and furious. How strong Jun is, in the end, is a mystery, but there is no doubt that in this star field, it should be unstoppable. And Jian Wushuang said that he could compete with that ancient night devil? Please rest assured. I know the origin of the ancient night devil. I know the details and strength of him, and I probably know him. Although I am not sure of winning, he wants to win me, but it is not so easy. And if I simply save my life, even if the ancient night demon king is even 2 or 3 times stronger, I don't even think about it. Jian Wushuang is very confident. He did have that confidence. When he went to the darkened demon realm, his combat power had reached the 2nd level of dominating level, and he made a huge breakthrough in the darkened demon realm, mastered a trace of the law of the universe, which increased his strength many times, and after returning from the darkened realm, he stayed in the red cloud realm for thousands of years. During these thousands of years, he could have been in the red cloud realm twice. With the help of those opportunities, his strength was also greatly improved. He also has a lot of whole cards in his hand. Now he is really strong, very strong. And that ancient night demon is a prisoner who escaped from the 1st floor of the eternal dark prison. Its strength is either the top dominate of the 2nd series or the primary dominated level of the 3rd series. For these 2 levels, if it is the former, he can fight head-to-head, and even the outcome is unpredictable. As for the latter, he can easily entangle him to save his life even if he is not an enemy. Therefore, from the beginning, Jian Wushuang did not have much fear of this ancient night demon, because the other party couldn't help himself. Jian Tianho, you really have the confidence to deal with that ancient night demon king? The Lord of the Sky is still unbelievable. That's natural, everyone is at ease in this horoscope, waiting for my good news. Jian Wushuang smiled. Seeing him so confident, the 4 masters glanced at each other and nodded secretly. In their impression, Jian Wushuang has done wonders for them more than once. Like the darkened demon realm, in such extremely dangerous places, they repeatedly discouraged them before they asked Jian Wushuang to break in. But as a result, isn't Jian Wushuang alive and out of the dark demon realm? Like the red cloud realm, for a long time, no one in this star field has been able to pass the test of the 1st day of the red cloud realm, but Jian Wushuang has broken through and brought a lot of treasures from the red cloud realm and that incredible triple path. All of these add up to their confidence in Jian Wushuang. Now that Jian Wushuang said that they had the confidence to face the ancient night devil, they also chose to believe it. But you should be careful. If you can't defeat that ancient night demon king, you will retreat. After all, it will not work. We abandon the Xingong Palace and retreat to the original world directly. Rest assured, I'm not going to make a joke about my life. Jian Wushuang was smiling. After saying goodbye to the 4 goddess Xian Shen, Jian Wushuang left directly and went towards the ancient night demon palace. The ancient night magic palace was once the old nest of Beihai Palace. At first, Xian Shen brought Sword Wushuang to get the Huangquan sword. Chapter 3854. Third more. Beihai Palace. No, it is now the ancient night magic palace. Jian Wushuang is in black, with a sword in his back, standing in the void, looking down at the huge magic palace covered by the magic array in front. Compared to Beihai Palace, the ancient night magic palace now has a stronger overall strength, and the palace gate is more magnificent. Jian Wushuang swept directly to the entrance, and as soon as he approached, the two figures blocked directly in front of him. Who? The breath emanating from these two figures is extremely not weak, and they have reached the level of the four realms. Troublesome announcement, said Blood Sword, came to visit the ancient night demon. Jian Wushuang said indifferently, Blood Sword, Lord of the Blood Sword? Both rulers were taken aback. The name of a person, the shadow of a tree. Jian Wushuang is recognized as the strongest and most anti-rule ruler in the history of this star field, and it can compete with the top masters. These strong are certainly awesome. Like the two rulers of the Void Realm who are standing in front of Jian was two sides. If they saw Jian Wushuang before, they must be respectful, but now, thinking of the huge ancient night magic palace behind them, and the one who has the sky, the ancient night demon king of the thorough means, their vigor is also full. Lord of the Blood Sword, wait a moment here, and I'll report it for you. One of the rulers immediately went in to inform. Jian Wushuang was not in a hurry, and stood here quietly. The magnificent palace is magnificent. The ancient night devil wearing a dark ink armor is sitting there, and there is a large number of beautiful girls dancing there. The ancient night devil is holding a fine wine in one hand, holding a beauty in his hand, and looking at the beautiful G below, so leisurely. The ancient night devil has indeed been very leisurely these years. You know, he escaped from that eternal hell. Eternal dark prison is almost a huge battlefield of Shura. The prisoners detained there can only survive as much as possible. To this end, the prisoners must always be careful and not tolerate a slack. How can there be a leisurely and comfortable life? The ancient night devil was imprisoned inside. I don't know how many years he has been driven crazy. Now he managed to escape. The first thing he did was to occupy a large area and search for beautiful women to enjoy the blessing of all people. Relax your mind and body. At this moment, the ruler of the notice came in. Devil, the Lord of the Blood Sword, went outside the palace and said he was visiting the demon. The ruler said on one knee, respectfully, Visit. There are also several masters in the palace under His Majesty the Ancient Night Demon King, all of whom came here at this moment. Are you sure you are talking about visiting, not visiting? Junshi ruled. It's clear, but he's talking about visiting. The ruler of that name. The Lord Junji frowned immediately. Visits and visits seem to be only a word away, but their meanings are quite different. You know, now the Ancient Night Demon King is the absolute overlord in this star field. The power of all the parties in this star field, including the top masters, must come here to see him honestly. But the Lord of the Blood Swords who came here now said it was a visit? Visiting is tantamount to placing yourself on the same level as the Ancient Night Demon King. The Lord of the Blood Sword? The Lord of a rule? The Ancient Night Devil's eyes looked down, but his eyes were very flat, without any anger. If the other party is a top master, he may still be annoyed when he comes to visit him, but he is too lazy to care about just being a ruler. After all, the ruler is just an ant, and he doesn't care. Devil, the Lord of the Blood Sword, is indeed the ruler of the rules, but it is the ruler of the most outrageous rule in the history of this astral field. His talents are unparalleled from ancient to modern. When the world was born, he already had the top dominance. Oh! The Ancient Night Demon Kings look moved, apparently interested. The ruler has the combat power of the first-level top master? These talents, even in the vast universe, are not many. I didn't expect your star field, and such a genius. After knowing Jian Wushuang's combat power, the Ancient Night Devil was surprised. The Lord of the Blood Sword is not bad. If you capture him and let him completely surrender to me, then when he breaks down to become the master, he may become one of my arms. The Ancient Night Demon chuckled, that cold his eyes looked down, empty Lord. Devil. The Emperor salutes respectfully. Do you know the Lord of the Blood Sword? The Ancient Night Demon asked. Of course. The owner of the skies smiled slightly. He is indeed the first demon in our star field and the strongest ruler in history. This is true. His combat power is comparable to the top master. This is also true. And the one who recognizes his top dominance is me. At the time in the Red Cloud realm, Jian Wushuang challenged the strong players from all sides, and the only top master who took the initiative to challenge was the Empty Master. At that time, Jian Wushuang fought against the Empty Master. Although falling into the downwind, the Empty Master had no way to take him. Afterwards, the Empty Master publicized the sword to have the top dominating power. But now the Empty Owner has already surrendered to the ancient Night Demon. This is also smart enough. After knowing that Beihai Palace was easily overthrown by the ancient Night Demon King, he took the initiative to surrender, and His Majesty also has a large force, who also joined the ancient Night Demon Palace. The position of the ancient Night Demon Palace is second only to the ancient Night Demon King, and the ancient Night Demon King is also generous. He followed the ancient Night Demon King and also gained a lot of benefit-strength ratio before that. It also improved a lot. Since you've dealt with it before, it's even simpler. You go and catch the Lord of the Blood Sword and bring me to see you, the ancient Night Demon commanded. Devil, although I am a lot stronger than the main one of the Blood Sword, but the Blood Sword's life-saving ability is very good. Even if I can't beat me, I can easily leave. With my strength, I guarantee he took it. The owner frowned. Oh. The ancient Night Devil raised his eyebrows and laughed afterwards. This is even more interesting. Anyway, although you fight with him, I will see how capable this ruler is, but you be careful when shooting, but don't kill him. Yes. The emperor smiled, then turned to go outside the palace. The ancient Night Demon is not interested in these beautiful ladies in front of him, but permeates the power of the soul, paying attention to the sword unparalleled outside the magic palace. Chapter 3855. Fourth More. Outside the magic palace, Jian Wushuang was waiting there silently. Suddenly a figure looted from the inside of the demon palace and appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. Are you, Empty Master? Jian Wushuang showed surprise. The Lord of the Blood Sword, it's been a long time. The emperor smiled indifferently. Did you even join the ancient night magic palace? Of course, the so-called knowledgeable person is Junjie, and the devil are in the world. No one can resist this star field. What is weird when I worship under the devil? Not to mention the benefits I have gained under the devil in these years. Now am His Majesty's first general. The Lord of the Blood Sword, you are extremely talented, but no one can guide you in this star field, so you are still only the Lord of the Rules. Why not worship His Majesty and become His Majesty like me a major battle? As long as the Demon King will give you a few words at random, maybe you will break through directly and become the master. In the future, will I wait for the Demon King to fight the universe together? Wouldn't you be happy? Said the Empty Master. Brief to His Majesty the ancient Night Demon King and become his next general? The sword has no weird color on both sides. Empty Master, I don't like sending you under the fence like you. If you dominate, I will naturally break through slowly. The Master is troubled. I came to visit the ancient Night Demon King today to discuss something with him. I want to talk about something? It should be your Xingong thing, right? Emperor looked at Jian Wushuang. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. Your star palace has been dominated by several masters, and has been indifferent to humiliate the monarch and master of the ancient Night Demon Palace. The demon is already aware of this, and it is quite angry, and it is about to destroy your star palace. At this time you come to ask for mercy again. I'm afraid it's too late. Of course, if you worship His Majesty and become your Majesty's warlord, the Majesty will definitely not be offended when you open your net. Even your star palace will rise in this star field in the future. The host continued to invite. I am the owner. I said that I am not interested in what kind of warlords, and I am too lazy to tell you more. You still have to talk to your devil and tell him to come out. Jian Wushuang was carrying his hands coldly. Toasting without eating and drinking, that's the case, then I can only catch you to see the demon. The voice of the Empty Master was cold, and a mighty divine spirit swept out of him. The next moment, the Empty Master will start directly. I saw the Lord slap turned, and a red gold sledgehammer appeared in his hand. The sledgehammer was so powerful that it was the strongest treasure in attack. The void shook slightly, and the red gold sledgehammer of the empty owner directly transformed into a red gold lightning, smashing across the void towards the sword unparalleled at a terrifying speed. The red gold lightning is extremely fast, and the mighty power is extremely powerful. This empty master seems to be stronger than he was at the beginning. Jian Wushuang's eyebrows lined up. As soon as he saw the red gold lightning, he could see that the empty master's power was better than the last time he had met him in the Red Cloud Realm. In time, we have to be a lot stronger. Of course, he is no longer comparable when Hang Yunji was born. The sword, unparalleled sword, came out directly. Huang Quan's magic sword turned into a dark phantom, and one sword was cut out at will. It is indeed a very random sword, but the origin of the Kendo universe contained in sword art is extremely strong. A low impact sounded, and the arms of the empty master sank slightly. What? No Lord frowned. But sword unparalleled and one after another, each sword is so casual and plain. But this sword came, but the owner could not resist with all his might, and even if he resisted, it was extremely difficult. How is it possible? How does his swordplay work so well, and the power contained in this swordplay? His divine power is obviously not very strong, but the swordplay shows up and completely covers my strength. Sledgehammer. Emperor's face was incredible. The last time he played in the Red Cloud Realm, his strength was not as strong as he is now, but he could still easily suppress Jian Wushuang, but he could not kill the other party. But now fighting again, his strength has obviously become stronger, but can fight, but is he completely suppressed? The demon wants me to pay attention to the size, don't accidentally kill him, but in this situation, how can I still have the opportunity to pay attention to the size? I saw the abrupt scream of the Lord, and at the center of his eyebrow, a cold light suddenly appeared. This ray of light is directly integrated into the surface of the god's body, and the breath on the master suddenly increases suddenly. He wields the power of the red gold sledgehammer, and instantly gets a tremendous increase. Boom! The red golden sledgehammer ran down and down, as if the whole world was oppressed. Second-level combat power? There was a flash of surprise in Jian Wu's eyes. The last time the empty master played against him, it was just the normal first-level top-dominated combat power, but now he fights again. Its combat power is obviously among the top masters, which is extremely terrible, and it is still on display. It is comparable to the attack power dominated by the second level. It seems that he did get a lot of benefits under the ancient Night Demon King. Jian Wushuang nodded secretly, followed the figure, a simple rush, and the Huangquan Excalibur was also a simple straight piercing. His divine power has not been improved, but the origin of Kendo universe contained in swordsmanship is suddenly richer than before. Clang! Huangquan's Excalibur struck directly with the red gold sledgehammer. The sledgehammer looked very heavy, and the sword unparalleled Huangquan Excalibur looked very thin compared to the sledgehammer. But in this collision, the swordless Huangquan's Excalibur did not move. Instead, it was the red gold sledgehammer in the empty master's hand. At this moment, it was directly thrown out. In the hands, the magic soldiers were thrown away. The sword Wushuang Huangquan's magic sword power had not been completely exhausted, and it still stabbed directly on the god's body. The master's body was violent, and his breath instantly weakened. How can it be? The empty master stood still again, looking up at Jian Wushuang. His face was incredible. Is it possible? When he met last time, he was able to easily suppress Jian Wushuang, but now in a blink of an eye, with the help of the ancient Night Demon King, his strength improved, but was easily defeated by the opponent. The Lord of the Blood Swords turned out to be so bad? Defeated the empty master in front, but Jian Wushuang did not feel the slightest satisfaction. For him, the masters of the level of the empty master are as difficult to attract his attention. Ancient Demon Lord, you should have seen it after seeing it for so long. Jian Wushuang said suddenly, his voice echoed throughout the magic palace. Chapter 3856. Fifth More. Ah! Magnificent laughter rang through the world, and within the rules of the ancient Night Demon Palace, a burly figure of a black warframe slowly stepped out. Behind this burly figure, he also followed several masters who surrendered to the ancient Night Demon Monarch, including the Monarch Master. Is the Lord of the Blood Sword right? Someone under me said that you can compete with the top masters at the level of the Lord of the Rules. I am still not quite convinced, but now you see, you are better than they say. Many more. The owner has followed me all these years, and his strength has improved a lot. I have also taught him a trick. The combat power that broke out in a short time can barely reach the second level, but you are still defeated by your sword. I am afraid that your strength is better than the one I defeated before. There was a trace of heat in the eyes of the ancient Night Demon King. I decided, starting today, you are my first general, and as for the master, let me be the second general. Hearing the words of the ancient Night Demon King, the emptiness of the mouth of the Lord was slightly drawn, and he did not speak. The world has always been respected for its strength. Jian Wushuang defeated him. If he really worshipped His Majesty the ancient Night Demon King, it would naturally be the first general and his position must be higher than him. You are the ancient Night Demon King? Jian Wushuang took a closer look at the ancient Night Demon King. It is worthy to escape from a purgatory-like place in the eternal dark prison. The breath and oppression of the ancient Night Devil are extremely strong. The whole person stands there without having to take a shot, but it feels like a worldwide demon in general. The spirit alone is enough to make ordinary masters afraid. The ancient Night Demon, you want me to be your general, and that's simple as long as your strength is strong enough to tremble me, but until now, I have not the slightest tremor, or even the idea of fear. Jian Wushuang smiled. A genius like you is a bit arrogant and normal. You want to see my strength, I fulfill you, you are optimistic. The ancient Night Devil laughed and waved directly. Convergence of divine power, the ancient Night Demon's right hand became crystal clear and immediately directed towards the location of the sword Wushuang, a direct shot. A simple shot, but instantly there is a towering handprint condensed in the void. This handprint contains 5 different rules at the same time, and they are perfectly integrated with each other, exuding a breathtaking sense of extinction. As soon as it took shape, the huge surrounding space was completely shuttered, as if it could not bear the power of the palm print. Around the Demon Palace, the lords of the ancient Night Demon Palace, including many rulers, saw their palms widened and exclaimed the moment they saw the print. In their eyes, this palm print, he was terrible. Those masters saw it more thoroughly, and they could very clearly sense the power of their body that shivered in the palm print. This power is like being able to kill them at will with one hand. And indeed it is. At one time, this ancient Night Demon Prince killed the top-level Tianping Master with one hand, and then he will dominate the heavy damage of the second level of Yu, scaring him away. Now, this palm, the ancient Night Demon, is just to deter Jian Wushuang. He doesn't want to kill Jian Wushuang, so the power of this palm has not reached the level of killing Tianping, but it is also amazing. At least the average master can't afford it. Seeing this huge palm print bombarded, Jian Wu's eyes were dim. Before this ancient Night Demon Master did not shoot, Jian Wushuang could not judge his specific strength, but now he really shot. Jian Wushuang knew that the strength of this ancient Night Demon King should not have reached the 3rd level. It is estimated that the peak of the 2nd series, or the most extreme. The strong at this level alone are not yet qualified to make Sword Wushuo fearless. I saw the sword Wushuang still inexorably wielding the Huangquan divine sword in his hands. A heavy sword rises, forming a heavy and heavy earth sword area. In a blink of an eye, Jian Wushuo already covered dozens of major sword areas in front of him. He stood there, motionless, and let the huge palm print bombard the earth sword. The roar of terror was shaking, and the destruction of that huge palm print could erupt completely, sweeping frantically around everything. However, in the very center of the palm printing power, Jian Wushuang still stood there intact. In the dozens of major sword areas on his body, although most of them were defeated, there were still a lot of them left. That is to say, the palm of the ancient Night Devil has not broken his sword art at all. Ancient Night Devil, is this what you mean by absolute strength? Jian Wushuang's mouth slightly tilted. Only with this strength, I am not qualified to subject me. The ancient Night Demon frowned. Is it bodyguard sword art? But this bodyguard sword art is so good that it can't break my palm directly? But following the ancient knight devil laughed again. It seems that the devil is looking down upon you. When you just played against the master, didn't you give up all your combat power? Ancient knight devil, I don't need to say any more nonsense. I really want to see how strong your combat power is. Jian Wu's eyes flashed hot, followed by his figure, and he took the initiative. With the huge wings spreading out, Jian Wushuang cast the Shuangguang Phantom and appeared directly in front of the ancient knight demon king like a teleportation, and then the Huangquan Excalibur cut out. With a sword, the space was cut open relentlessly. This sword is not very powerful, but the ancient knight demon stared fiercely. Good rich Kendo universe origin. The richness of this Kendo universe origin, I see you on the first floor of Eternal Dark Prison among the countless second-level masters. Few are comparable. This kid, the ruler of every rule, has such a high sense of the origin of Kendo universe? I saw one after another, Jianguang. In any one of the sword lights contains the very rich origin of Kendo universe. The blessing of the origin of Kendo universe has greatly enhanced the sword power. The ancient knight demon king waved his fist and blasted forward. The fist and Jianguang collided again and again. The power was overwhelming. This boy, the perception of the origin of the Kendo universe is too high. I am afraid that among the third-level masters, they are all very powerful. His sword skill is also extremely exquisite, even under my boxing skills. The ancient Yi Majuan was amazed, but beyond his surprise, there were more surprises. To him, the stronger the sword is, and the more upset he is, the happier he is. Because in his eyes, Jian Wushuang is already his general. 3 Heads M. Chapter 3857. Sixth more. Another collision, Jian Wushuang and the ancient knight demon's stature pulled apart. Little guy, you are really surprised me. A ruler is so high at the origin of Kendo universe. Today, you will surely become the first warlord of this devil. Shengzhenshen, his body was full of magic, and the power of those 2 fists suddenly increased to a whole new level at this moment. Okay. Jian Wushuang frowned. Although he could just use swordsmanship to fight against the fist of the ancient knight demon, he himself knew that this was the reservation of the ancient knight demon. The most dominant master of the second series is purely powerful in divine power, which is much more powerful than sword warriors. After 2 fists smashed, Jian Wushuang was already struggling. It seems that I can't hold back anymore. Jian Wu's eyes were cold, Huang Quan's sword in his hand was cut straight out, and a swift sword light came. While cutting to the ancient knight demon, a special force poured in among the lights. With the addition of this special force, the power of Jian Wushuang, a sword, instantly increased several times. The trembled in emptiness, and the ancient knight demon king stepped back 3 steps in succession. At the same time, his right-hand fist was slightly numb, and he still felt a little pain. But the ancient knight devil did not pay any attention to the pain in his arm, but stared at Jian Wushuang. Just that power, that supreme power. Nothing wrong, it is the law of the universe. Absolutely the law of the universe. The Lord of the Blood Sword has even realized a trace of the law of the universe? An ancient horror flashed in the eyes of the ancient knight demon. The law of the universe is supreme. Even the master, it is extremely difficult to understand a trace. Any master, as long as he comprehends a bit of the law of the universe, his strength can undergo qualitative transformation. Like him, although he is the most dominant master of the second series, the law of the universe has always been unattainable to him. As for the ruler, the universe recognizes that the ruler is able to comprehend a rule of the universe that belongs to a super genius rarely seen in billions of stars. This kind of super genius is enough to make those big forces in the vast universe madly compete for it. Countless topic streams are very eager to accept such super genius as disciples and inherit the mantle. Anyway, this ancient knight devil is also the second highest standing, and he himself comes from the depths of the universe, and there are many geniuses he has seen. Super genius, but he has never seen it before. Master of the blood sword, follow me. I guarantee that you will become the master within 100,000 years, and I am not just a solitary master. I also have a division in the depths of the universe. There are all the strong ones, and you follow me to the depths of the universe, and I let the supreme strong person of my division personally come forward to accept you as an apprentice," said the ancient night demon prince. He now does not want Jian Wushuang to be his sire. This level of super genius is not what he controls at all, but his division can. He couldn't wait to return to the teacher's gate with Sword Wushuang now. "Sure men." Jian Wushuang's expression moved without questioning. There may be a division behind this ancient night demon king, but the division door must not be strong, otherwise how could this ancient night demon king be held in the eternal dark prison for so many years? Don't care about the division behind this ancient night demon king. Ancient demon lord, am not interested in you or your division. Now you think about how you won't be defeated by me. Jian Wushuang's voice was cold, and Huang Quanshan's sword turned into a bend in his hand. How Yue, when the airstrikes came out, there was a trace of the law of the universe in Jianguang, which instantly caused Jianguang's power to skyrocket. At the same time, the mighty realm of magic light and the realm of mysterious light are fused together, directly oppressing the ancient night demon monarch. The combination of the two fields, even the most dominant master of the second level, such as the ancient night devil, has also been greatly affected in this field. The ancient night demon prince immediately fought with Jian Wushuang, but after just a few times of confrontation, the ancient night devil found himself in a slight disadvantage. The Lord of the Blood Sword has a superb understanding of the origin of the Kendo universe. He also has a trace of the laws of the universe. Sword skill is also extremely good. Although his divine power is much weaker than mine, he can rely on the wonders of the laws of the universe. The surrounding area is actually faintly overwhelming me? Guyi Emojun couldn't help but marvel. He has heard rumors long ago that after a practitioner has realized a glimpse of the laws of the universe, his strength will soar many times. Now it seems that this is the case. When Jian Wushuang did not use the laws of the universe, his combat power was barely dominated by the second level, but now using the laws of the universe, that combat power is definitely the peak of the second level. Ah, Lord of the Blood Sword, you are very good. In this case, the demon is no longer hiding it. The laughter of the ancient night demon echoed. Even if he saw him slap, there was a black glove on each of the two palms, and the black glove exuded a very strong sense of destruction. It was an extremely powerful treasure. This ancient night demon king finally came out to attack Arca. Jian Wu's eyes narrowed slightly. From the beginning of the battle to the present, he has long noticed that the ancient night demon has always been fighting with himself empty-handed. His two fists were extremely stiff, and they were absolutely comparable to ordinary treasures. He repeatedly collided with his own Huangquan Excalibur without any damage. However, after incorporating the laws of the universe into his swordplay, he couldn't carry it anymore, and now the ancient night demon king finally took out his strongest treasure soldier. The prisoners in the eternal dark prison are indeed so good, they can just come up with one, and they are so arrogant. I used many methods and the laws of the universe to force my attack to Bora. Jian Wushuang secretly sighed. The battle with this ancient night demon king made Jian Wushuang more interested in the many prisoners in the eternal dark prison. He has decided that when this time is over he will set off to practice in the eternal dark prison. Of course, the ancient night demon king in front of him is still unsolved. Master of the Blood Sword, watch the fist. The ancient night devil's eyes flashed a strong light, and the entire person was completely transformed into a wild beast. I saw the overwhelming violent breath coming, and the ancient night demon slain directly before the sword had no double-sidedness, and his strength no longer had any reservation, and at this moment completely poured out. Chapter 3858. The first is more. So strong. I saw the ancient night demon turned into a fierce beast, and two fists blasted frantically. The boxing method was arrogant and overbearing. Each of the most important fists contained incredible power, Jian Wushuang and the ancient night demon's fist each the collision only felt a heavy mountain oppressing him. In less than a moment of fighting, Jian Wushuang was completely crushed ruthlessly. He even felt the pain in his palm and couldn't hold the Huangquan Excalibur in his hand. In terms of strength, the gap is too big. Jian Wushuang sighed. After all, it is the most dominant master in the second level. The divine power alone is much stronger than Jian Wushuang. This ancient night demon is not vain, but he directly presses people. Jian Wushuang is difficult to resist. Suddenly, Jian Wushuang pulled away abruptly and pulled away from the ancient night demon king again. The ancient night demon monarch was so powerful that he did not immediately catch up. Why? Know that you can't beat it and want to stop it? Laughed the ancient night demon. The ancient night devil, it really deserves to have escaped from that place, and the strength is really great. Jian Wushuang said. He said very easily, and those who watched the battle next to him, such as the empty master and the monarch ruled them, did not know what Jian Wushuang said. Only the ancient night demon king, in the same words, his eyes and pupils shrank sharply. Escaped from that place? This boy, do you know where I come from, and know that the eternal dark prison can't be achieved? The ancient night demon frowned. Ancient night devil, to be honest, this time I came, I was quite looking forward to your strength, and now it seems that you did not let me down. You are very strong, better than anyone I have ever dealt with. They are much stronger, and you are also qualified to let me use Wu Wei. Jian Wushuangdo. What is it? The ancient night demon is unknown. Sword Wushuang took the Huangquan Excalibur in his hand and took the scabbard on the back, followed by a slap, and a black Excalibur exudes gloom in his hand. This black Excalibur gradually floated there. At first glance, there was nothing strange, but the ancient night devil came from the depths of the universe and was held in the eternal dark prison for so many years. His vision is naturally not low. At the moment of the black Excalibur, his pupils narrowed sharply. This black Excalibur seems calm, but under the surface calm, there is an unprecedented coldness and darkness. The most important thing is that this black Excalibur has an incredible power. This extremity seems to be able to tear apart everything in the world, not only the ancient night devil, but everyone around it, staring at the black Excalibur. At that moment, the sharpness in the black divine sword seemed to tear their souls in half. Heartbreaking and frightening. What is this treasure? A horror flashed in the eyes of the ancient night demon. Jian Wushuang smiled lightly. He held the Wu Cry Excalibur with one hand and rushed forward with a divine power. Wow! A dim shadow of the sword rushed out, like a cloud of mist, directly covering the void in front of him. In the mist, there was an unprecedented cold light flashing. The strongest sword attack created by Jian Wushuang Misty. Humph! The ancient night demon snorted, and his fist turned into a roaring dragon, which burst out. Everywhere you go, space collapses. In a blink of an eye, the shocking sword light contained in the mist collided with the fist of the ancient night demon. Only one loud noise was heard, and the huge ancient night demon palace shook violently under this impact. At the very center of the two, the ancient night devil's face changed suddenly, and a horror appeared in his eyes. Following his figure, he stepped back one after another. Each step was heavy and powerful, breaking the void. After standing firmly, the ancient night demon prince immediately looked at his right hand. The black gloves on his right hand originally exuded an extremely thick gloom, but at this moment the gloom was much dimmer than before. My strongest treasure soldier, did I get some damage? How could this be? The magical face of the ancient night devil is incredible. You know, this pair of black gloves was obtained by him when he fought with people in Eternal Dark Prison and spent a lot of money on a second-ranked strongest man. Extremely, the theory level is among the strongest treasures, and it must also belong to the necessary. This glove is his strongest attacking soldier. But is such an attack on the magic soldier, now in the collision with the sword, unparalleled swordsmanship? Only a single collision, his gloves are slightly damaged? The Excalibur in your hand. The ancient night demon re-looked at the black divine sword in the swordless hands, and his expression was constantly changing. From the start, he was shocked, and finally turned into ecstasy. The rule is precious. Yes, that Excalibur must be the rule of noble. Otherwise, how could a single collision cause some damage to my strongest Excalibur's gloves, and the Blood Sword Lord's sword power can be improved all at once? With so much, this must be the credit of that rule of treasure. The ancient Night Devil is really excited. He never expected that the Lord of the Blood Sword in front of him would not only be a legendary billionaire astral super genius, but the latter also had the rule of treasure in his hands. The rule is precious, let alone the master of a second series, even if it is the third series, or even most of the fourth series, there is no such treasure. Such a treasure is enough to make any master below the 5th level crazy. He is an ancient Night Devil, and he is naturally crazy. Kill! The eyes of the ancient Night Demon King flashed unprecedented fierceness, and the whole person turned into a fierce beast, and flew towards the sword unparalleled again. And this time, the pervasive power on him is obviously stronger than just now. Jian Wushuang is also not afraid. Wu crying Excalibur is in his hand, but he himself has realized a bit of the law of the universe. With this piece of cosmic law, he can barely use a small part of the power of Wu Cry Excalibur, and this small part of power can greatly improve the overall strength of the sword. This is also one of the spirits of Jian Wushuang who dared to face the ancient Night Demon King before. After coming out of the dim demonic realm, he realized a bit of the law of the universe, his strength sword, and then obtained the Wu Weeping Sword, which made his combat power soar to a whole new level. Because of this, he dared to say that it was enough to fight the ancient Night Demon King, and the outcome was unpredictable. Now, the power of this magic sword Wu Wei is gradually revealed in the sword without hands. Chapter 3859. Second more. Outside the ancient Night Magic Palace, a large number of people gathered. These are the strong men under the ancient Night Magic Palace, of which only a few dominate, but the Rule Master has a lot. At this moment, they were staring at the battle in the void ahead. The two sides of that battle were truly the ancient Night Devil that they had determined to be invincible in this star field, and the other was the Lord of the Blood Sword. At the beginning they thought that there was no suspense in this battle. It was considered that the Lord of the Blood Sword was able to make a move in the hands of the ancient Night Demon King, but what happened? The two of them have been fighting fiercely until now, and it has been a while, but they haven't decided the winner yet? What is this concept? Devil and he have all come up with their strongest attacking soldiers, but they still can't win the Lord of the Blood Sword. Not only was he unable to win it, the Demon King was at war with the Lord of the Blood Sword, but he couldn't take the slightest advantage, but he was suffering from the sword art of the Lord of the Blood Sword everywhere. The Lord of the Blood Sword, isn't it just the Lord of the Rules? And he said before that his combat power barely reached the threshold of top masters? Can you see this scene? Where is the threshold of top masters? How much do adults have to be weak? These ancient Night Demon Kings are shocked at this moment. They didn't know Jian Wushuang's strength before, thinking that Jian Wushuang's strength still stayed at the time when the Red Cloud Realm was opened. At that time, Jian Wushuang was at best comparable to the top master. But the average top master, in the ancient Night Demon King said, it is almost the same as the ants. The ancient Night Demon King can kill the so-called top masters with one move. Like the Beihai Palace's Tianping Master, it is killed by the ancient Night Demon King with one stroke. At that time, the ancient Night Demon King did not even use his strongest treasure soldier. But now, the strongest treasure soldiers are also used. The ancient Night Demon Prince obviously does not retain any strength, but the Master of the Blood Sword can still compete with the ancient Night Demon Lord. Even relying on swordsmanship, he occupies some advantages. This is scary. It's no wonder that the Lord of the Blood Sword can come out alive from the darkened demon realm, so powerful. Even if you enter the deepest part of the darkened demon realm, I am afraid that you may not encounter much danger. Before, I thought Lord Demon King was absolutely invincible in this star field, but now it seems that someone can still compete with it, and the only thing Lord King can counter, it is probably the Lord of the Blood Sword. The Lord of the Blood Sword, the ruler of every rule, Can even fight like this with Lord Mojuan? Great. Can't help but wonder. There is no way. It is the combat power revealed by Jian Wushuang, which should not be possessed by a ruler at all. It's too much against the sky. In the battlefield, the ancient Night Demon King was shocked by the appointment. He really has now revealed his strongest strength, and the power has burst to the extreme. However, the sword in front of him is based on a part of the power of the magical sword Wu Wu Shenzhen. Many mysteries are performed at the same time. The power will not be worse than him, and Jian Wushuang's sword skill is extremely high, and his perception of kendo is much higher than his perception of boxing. His only advantage should be spent in eternal dark prison for too long, and his experience in killing is extremely rich, but despite this, Jian Wushuang can rely on swordsmanship, but he can still compete with him, even with some advantages. The most important thing is that there is another hidden danger in the ancient Night Demon King, which is the huge gap between the magical soldiers and the treasure. The rule is precious. The power is too strong. Although my gloves are the best of the strongest ones, the ratio is still far from the rule. I fight the Lord of the Blood Sword and my fist is against him. The rule of the Supreme Treasure Sword also expands again and again. Every time I collide, my strongest treasure boxer will be slightly damaged. To this day, my strongest treasure boxer has been damaged a lot. I'm afraid these gloves are broken. Ancient Night Devil frowned. But just then, hum! An incomparable breath came from the void above. The ancient Night Demon King immediately looked up and looked away, but at this look, he found a majestic and monumental stone monument, magnificently enlarged in his pupils. The surface of the steel is also surrounded by countless secret patterns. These secret patterns are extremely complicated, and this towering steel was crushed directly towards him in time. The rule of treasure is another rule of treasure. The ancient Night Demon screamed inside. The rule of treasure, he spent so many years in the first floor of eternal hell, and also met countless prisoners, but from the hands of these prisoners have never seen a rule of treasure, but now, he is from the eternal escaped and came to the star field at the edge of the universe. As a result, in such a remote star field, he not only saw the rule of treasure, but also saw two things at one time, both from the same person. This second rule is a treasure, of course, it is a town monument. When Jian Wushuang returned to the chaotic world of ancient times, he took the town's steel refinery and collected it. After comprehending a bit of the law of the universe, he has been able to master this town monument, but because of the particularity of the town monument, its true power is worse than the normal repressive class arcana, but it is also powerful enough already. At this moment, the town of Tianbei was oppressed oppressively, and the ancient Night Demon Prince also mentioned the sword threat of sword unparalleled in the front, so he could not resist the oppression of that town of steel. Boom! The huge town monument fell directly on the ancient night monster. The terrible power instantly dropped the ancient night devil into the ground below, and severely fell on the Earth's star, so that a deep invisible pit appeared on the Earth's ground. Many powerful men of the ancient night demon looked at this scene in horror. They saw the invincible devil in their hearts, and they were directly manipulated by a stone steel to the ground. Suddenly, a figure has risen to the sky again. It is the ancient night devil, but the ancient night devil at the moment is slightly pale and looks a little bit embarrassed. Awesome, there are two rules to the treasure. The ancient night demon stared at the sword unparalleled. You are also terrific. You were hit by the front of my town's monument, and you didn't receive it much. It seems that you not only have your own deity, but even the top armor of the body, it is also very good. Jian Wushuang also said. The ancient night demon snorted, but his heart began to figure out, the Lord of the Blood Sword has great strength, and there are two rules of treasure in hand. I am not a rival, I am now his opponent. Now I think it's almost impossible to capture him. In this case, he can only use the last trick to kill him directly. 3 Heads M. Chapter 3860? Third More. Ancient Night Demon King wanted to have a sword capture. After all, Jian Wushuang is a real super genius, and there is not necessarily a single one in the billions of stars. Such a super genius is of immense value. If he can receive His Majesty, he can get incredible benefits. But with the strength that Jian Wuxuang is showing now, he wants to capture it, which is simply a lunatic dream. In this case, he can only step back and kill Jian Wuxuang. He knew that in such a remote star field, the Lord of Swords and One Rule could have such combat power. It must have been an incredible opportunity, like the two rules of his treasure, which fully explain this point. So even if Jian Wuxuang could not be earned, as long as he killed Jian Wuxuang and got his two rules, he was searching for Jian Wuxuang's Qianquan ring, and he believed that his gain would not be low. The Lord of the Blood Sword, you can drive me to this step, you are really good, but it's also over. The ancient night demon stared coldly. Next I will show my strongest hole card. This move, even though I have been in that place for a long time, I have only performed it 10 times. You can be proud of this trick. As soon as the ancient night devil's voice fell, a lot of black gloom began to condense on his body. Are there any whole cards? Jian Wu's eyes and pupils shrank, and he couldn't help but admire him. This ancient night devil can always survive in eternal dark prison, and the method is really extraordinary. Until now, there are still no cards. And the ancient night demon king has been fighting with him for so long, and he also knows his strength, but still dare to say that this trick has the opportunity to kill himself, then obviously your power is extraordinary. Drink. The ancient night demon lord drank violently, and the breath on his body was suddenly abruptly weakened at this moment, and a hot spit of blood was also sprayed from his mouth. It's a special mystery, and the cost of his mystery is definitely not small. The sword has no two-sided dignity. When he noticed that the breath of the ancient night devil was weakened a lot, he realized that this trick is not trivial. Boom! The ancient night demon king shot. I saw a lot of dark light condensing at a horrible speed, and in the blink of an eye formed an ancient black giant finger. This black giant finger, carrying the earth-shaking power of extinction, came directly to the sword without fingers. This trick. Jian Wu's eyes narrowed, and he could feel the terrifying power of this trick. If it is said that the ancient night demon under full force broke out, its combat power is already the most extreme of the second level, then this finger that he costs at a great cost now has absolutely exceeded the second level and reached the level of the third series, and the higher level dominates the level. Oh, this trick, but the secret technique from my own division, was created by the Supreme Hand. The power is extremely powerful. I spent 40% of my divine power and some blood at one time before I could barely show this trick. I don't believe he can resist it. The ancient night demon king's eyes were cold. However, under his gaze, Jian Wuxuang's body suddenly erupted into a towering divine power. The divine power is frantically crisscrossing, and the next moment is directly burning at a horrible speed. Dragon extermination, magic power burns. As soon as this divine power was burned, the sword's divine power increased by 100-fold in an instant, and under the amplitude of various mystic skills, his power at this moment has completely reached a completely new level. Guardian of the Earth. Sword Wuxian swiftly exhaled the Excalibur in his hand. Driven by the laws of the universe, Wu Chang's Excalibur also exhibited decent power. In a moment, a major area of sword condensed in front of Sword Wuxuang. It took 40 hours to form a full 40. 3 major ground sword areas. Yes, 43. This is after Jian Wuxuang came out of the dim demon realm and spent thousands of years in the Red Cloud realm. In those thousands of years, he used the opportunity in the Red Cloud realm to improve his strength again, not only on the laws of the universe, but also on kendo. In swordplay, he now has a higher sense of the origin of the kendo universe. Among the third-level masters, he has reached the extreme. With such a sense of the origin of the kendo universe, fully exerting the trick of guarding the earth can instantly condense the 43 major sword areas. These 43 major sword areas are stronger than stronger. Boom! The old black giant finger slowly extended, and finally bombarded the land of the sword on the surface of the swordless body. The instant power broke out. 43 major sword domains, and its 30 heavy sword domains, were like transparent window paper. They were directly broken by the black giant finger, followed by the black giant finger. 11:32. The first 39 was defeated in the blink of an eye. But by the time of the 40th épée, the speed of the black giant finger was obviously slower. In the 41st épée domain, the black giant finger paused for a long time before barely breaking. As for the 42nd weight, the black giant finger failed to defeat the 42nd sword area and dissipate. The black giant finger most stopped at the 42nd level. I used the technique of dragon extermination and the strongest defense sword and earth guard under the premise of a surge in divine power, but I was also defeated by the 41 heavy sword domain. The power of this finger is really real. Sword Wushuang could not help but admire. Jian Wushuang was just admiration, but the ancient night devil was horrified, even terrified. How can it be? I spent great divine power and even sacrificed some of the strongest means of casting blood. Even if it is the general third-level elementary master in the eternal dark prison, it is estimated that it will be badly hit by this move. Every ruler of the rule, not only I completely blocked this move, and still rely on the perfect protection of body swords, I didn't even break his body swords with this trick? How could he be so strong? The ancient night demon trembled physically and mentally. But Jian Wushuang's cold eyes had already looked at the ancient night demon king. Ancient night demon king, your strongest means have already been performed, so you can borrow me another sword. Jian Wushuang slowly raised the Wu-crying Excalibur in a frantic flame and waved wildly. The next moment, a horrible, hazy sword shadow was cut out directly. The strongest swordplay, hazy. The same sword can be used to perform the sword unparalleled operation after the dragon annihilation. The power of this sword is much more powerful than before. Not good. The ancient night demon king's face changed greatly, and he could see at a glance that the sword might be extremely powerful, at least it had reached the threshold of the third level. Even if he did not dare to pick it easily in his heyday, let alone his at present, the divine power and blood are greatly damaged, and the combat power is at most only 60% of the heyday. 60% strength, how dare to take this sword? Emperor Jiutian. Chapter 3861. Fourth is here. Escape. The ancient night devil does not hesitate. I saw that his body shape suddenly changed from 1 to hundreds, and this figure fled from all directions. Although the mist formed by Jian Wushuang's hazy sword technique enveloped the past for the first time, it only covered part of the body. The covered figures were all annihilated by Jian Guang, but it is clear that the deity of the ancient night demon is not among these figures. But the shape of the sky suddenly dissipated, and the figure of the ancient night demon monarch had appeared in the void far away from the sword unparalleled. Obviously the strength is damaged, but there is still such a powerful life-saving technique that can be cast from the eternal dark prison. Even if it is seriously injured, I can't kill him. Sword Wushuang retracted the two-handle rule arcane, also stopped the burning of divine power in the body. The ancient night demon king, at this moment, stared at Jian Wushuang with a solemn look. As for those strong men who watched the ancient night magic palace, they were silent. The battle in front of them was in their eyes from start to finish, and of course they saw it at the end. Ancient Night Demon King showed his strongest whole card, but he failed to break even the sword unparalleled body sword skill. The last sword of Jian Wushuang, but the scared ancient night demon monarch fled, and did not dare to compete with it. Obviously in this battle, the sword is unparalleled. On strength, Jian Wushuang is still above this ancient night demon king. From today on, the strongest in this star field is estimated to be replaced by the Lord of the Blood Sword. The Emperor sighed inwardly. I even ran to the Star Palace to let go of the word, and even the Lord of the Blood Sword was actually attracted by me. The ruler of that monarch was terrified. Previously, the ancient night demon king supported him. He didn't care about Xingong at all. Even if he knew that Jian Wushuang was stronger than him, he didn't care. But now he knew that the strength of the Lord of the Blood Swords was even more terrible than the demon behind him, which made him truly frightened. He can imagine that if Jian Wushuang is going to kill him, the ancient night devil may not stop it, and even if it is to stop it, it is probably impossible to stop it. Master of the Blood Sword, you won this battle. The ancient Night Demon King finally spoke. He didn't say much, nor did he justify himself. Losing is losing. He spent so many years in the eternal dark prison. I don't know how much there is. If he didn't even have the courage to admit defeat, he would have been killed for a long time. Ancient Night Demon King, you are really strong, especially the last finger, almost defeated my strongest body protection means I can beat you, but also fortunate, plus the assistance of the treasure. Jian Wushuangdo. Treasure is also a kind of strength. The ancient Night Demon Jun smiled. The Lord of the Blood Sword, here is at the gate of my ancient Night Demon Palace. Why not go with me to the Demon Palace? Let me talk about it in detail. How about it? Let's talk about it in detail? Jian Wushuang looked, and then nodded with a smile. Since the ancient Night Demon King invited me, then I'm welcome. Please ask the demon to lead the way. Come with me. The laughter of the ancient Night Devil is extremely happy. Just now, Gu Yejuan is still thinking about playing his strongest hole card to kill sword warriors, but now he blinks and invites sword warriors to enter the magic palace to discuss in detail, and sword warriors also directly agreed. This is also normal. After all, Jian Wushuang had no major resentment against this ancient Night Demon Prince, and before the rule of the king and the prince went to the Star Palace, there was some friction. But this friction is not really hatred. The ancient Night Demon King wanted to kill Jian Wushuang because Jian Wushuang was pregnant with treasure. He longed for it, but since he couldn't kill him, he naturally didn't want to be at odds with Jian Wushuang. After all, Jian Wushuang's strength now eclipsed him. The most terrible thing about Wushuang is his potential. The master level of the rule is so strong. Who knows how strong he will be when he breaks through and become the master? As for Jian Wushuang, he can't kill the ancient Night Demon, but he also needs to know some things in the eternal dark prison from the ancient Night Demon, and of course he won't choose to be evil with the ancient Night Demon. Both knew that the other was strong and could not be the enemy. In the magnificent magic palace, the ancient Night Devil did not choose to sit on the towering throne above, but sat in front of the case with the sword without a double face, which is also a respect for the strength of the sword without a sword, and put the sword without a sword completely on an equal footing with yourself. On the case, there is fine wine. The Lord of the Blood Sword, this is the wine I collected from the treasure house of the Beihai Palace after I overthrew the Beihai Palace. This wine is of great help to the practitioners who dominate the following. The most important thing is that it tastes good. Do you want to taste it? Taste? Said the ancient Night Demon King. Jian Wushuang glanced at the fine wine, but shook his head. No, I don't want to hide it. I came here this time to find you the ancient Night Demon King. Oh. The ancient Night Devil frowned. You came for the Star Palace thing? This is one of them. Jian Wushuang nodded. This is something I have done too much in, and I will give you the Lord of the Blood Sword. The ancient Night Demon voiced solemnly, followed his eyes and glanced to the side. Magic Monarch. The monarch dominated and immediately fell to his knees. The Lord of the Blood Sword, this matter arises because of this monarch. He saw the special treasure of the Star Palace, the Triple Path, so he asked for it in the name of my ancient Night Magic Palace. After the Lord of the Star Palace defeated, I told the treasure to me when I came back, and told me that I was bitter. I am the Lord of the ancient Night Magic Palace. In order to maintain the face, I was told that the Lord of the Palace would send the treasure to him. Come up. Ancient Night Demon King said. I can understand. Jian Wushuang nodded. He could see that the ancient Night Devil did not lie, and there was no need to lie. In this case of the ancient Night Demon Palace and the Xing Palace, the monarch and the king dominated a large part. Now Junyi is here. What do you do with the Lord of the Blood Sword, www. Novel? It doesn't matter if you kill him directly. The ancient Night Demon took a drink from the case. Feel free to say. He said easily, but the monarch who was kneeling beside him was terrified. Devil, forgive me, forgive me. The ruler of the monarch kept asking for mercy, but the ancient Night Demon Prince did not look at him. To the ancient Night Demon Monarch, This monarch is the master of the First Order. As far as the master of the First Order is concerned, such a master is a lot in the universe, he doesn't care. However, Jian Wushuang is different. This is an incredible super genius with unlimited potential in the future. What he has to do now is to pull as much as possible with Jian Wushuang, but he will not fight against Jian Wushuang for the sake of a prince. Chapter 3862. Fifth More. Kill it. Jian Wushuangro watched with interest, kneeling beside him, the monarch who was begging for mercy. This monarch dominates the mighty masters, and he is definitely a top-level existence in this star field. Once there was no sword double-sided to such an existence, he had to look up, but now he is kneeling in front of himself. Can decide its life and death. It's nothing, I'm too lazy to kill you, but you have to go to my star house. As for what to do, you should consider it yourself. Jian Wushuang rode. He said to Terra now that killing a high master has no sense of accomplishment. Thank you very much for the Lord of the Blood Sword, spare your life. The ancient Night Demon Lord said coldly. Thank you for the Lord of the Blood Sword, thank you for the Lord of the Blood Sword. The monarch ruler was relieved. I immediately set off and went to the Star Palace to pay for my sins. Jian Wushuang just waved his hands arbitrarily, followed by looking at the ancient Night Demon, solemnly. Ancient Night Demon, when I come this time, there is actually another more important thing. Jian Wushuang lowered his voice, and the ancient Night Demon became aware, and immediately commanded, you all go down. Yes. The empty host and others who escorted aside immediately bowed and left. In the entire Great Hall, there are only Jian Wushuang and the ancient Night Demon King. The latter also directly imposed a heavy prohibition to prevent someone from hearing the dialogue between the two. Master of the Blood Sword, you can speak now. The ancient Night Demon Lord looked over. The ancient Night Devil, I didn't meander, I just said, I'm very interested in that eternal dark prison. Jian Wushuangdo. You really know the eternal dark prison. The ancient Night Demon looked solemnly at Jian Wushuang. In the previous battle with Jian Wushuang praised him for being out of that place. At that time, the ancient Night Magic King guessed whether Jian Wushuang knew his origin. Now it seems that Jian Wushuang did know. The Lord of the Blood Sword, I can ask, how do you know the eternal dark prison, and how do you know that I escaped from the eternal dark prison? The ancient Night Demon asked. This is very simple. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly, and then turned over and took out something. Guillermo Jun, you should know this thing in my hand? What Jian Wushuang took out was a token. This is a disciple's token of Hongyun's veins, and it is also a token of the disciples of the inner door. Guillermo Jun was completely shocked. He was in the vein of Hongyun when he broke through the kingdom of God and committed a great crime, and was detained by Hongyun in an eternal dark prison. After that, he stayed in the vein of Hongyun. He didn't know how many years. He knew the vein of Hongyun naturally, and knew the power of the vein of Hongyun. Like the division behind him, in fact, it was not a weak side. There are several supreme people sitting in the town, but his teacher did not dare to offend Hongyun, knowing that he was being held in the eternal dark prison, and pretended not to see it. I can imagine that the Red Cloud is strong. However, the people of the Red Cloud have not appeared in the eternal dark prison for a long time. For these dozens or even hundreds of chaotic times, no new prisoners have been held in the eternal dark prison. Therefore, the eternal dark prison has been circulating. It is said that the pulse of Hongyun has been completely destroyed. And after escaping from the eternal dark prison, this ancient Night Demon is affirming the fact that the vein of Hongyun has been destroyed, for which he is extremely happy. But whoever thought of this blink of an eye, he met the disciple of Hongyun. No, you are just the master of the rules, and it looks like you haven't cultivated for a long time, and Hongyun's pulse has long been destroyed. I don't know how many years, you must not be a disciple of Hongyun's pulse in the peak period. If I guess you should have been in the Hongyun Imai Divine Kingdom site for a while, and you got the opportunity left by Hongyun Imai before you became a disciple of Hongyun Imai? Asked the ancient Night Demon. Yes, I haven't been a disciple of Hongyun Imai for a long time, so you do have to worry. I won't hate you because of Hong Yun Mai, and I will detain you again in the eternal dark prison, not to mention this. No idea, no ability. Jian Wushuang smiled. Well, since you have just become a disciple of Hong Yun, that is not my enemy. The ancient night demon nodded secretly. He was imprisoned in the eternal dark prison for so long tortured by Yun Yun, and after suffering torture he managed to escape by now. If he does not resent Hong Yun's pulse in his heart, it must be impossible, but Hong Yun's pulse it is overthrown. The Red Cloud strong man who had detained him in the eternal dark prison originally is estimated to have died long ago, and naturally he will not be implicated in Jian Wushuang. After all, Jian Wushuang only got a chance in the near future, and then he worshipped under the gate of Hong Yun. I am a disciple in the heart of Hong Yun. Naturally, I know the existence of Eternal Dark Prison, and I also know that you escaped from the first floor of Eternal Dark Prison not long ago. As for my coming to you this time, mainly I want to ask you something about the Eternal Dark Prison. Jian Wushuangdo. You ask about things in Eternal Dark Prison, do you want to go in? The ancient night devil frowned. I have this idea. Jian Wushuang smiled. There are countless strong men in the Eternal Dark Prison, even the first level, there are countless tops of the second series, and even the strongest of the third series, so of course I want to go in and go through it. You have the tokens of the disciples in the heart of Hong Yun. You can mobilize the power of the magic circle in the Eternal Dark Prison. It is an invincible existence at all. This experience, you will not be in danger. That's it. But I still want to get some information about you from the Eternal Dark Prison. In addition, although I know that the Eternal Dark Prison is hidden in the depths of Red Rock Mountain, I don't know the exact location of the entrance. You have to guide me for the ancient night devil. Jian Wushuangdo intelligence is simple. I can tell you everything I know. As for the way, it is not impossible. But I have one condition. The ancient night devil is right. Conditions? Jian Wushuang's expression moved. Tell me. I have an enemy in the first floor of the Eternal Dark Prison. It is an outrageous lunatic. I fell into his hands and was tortured by him for billions of years. It is better to die than to live. This hatred I have never forgotten, but his strength is far superior to me. Before in the Eternal Dark Prison, I had no way to take him at all. Even if he came out of the Eternal Dark Prison one day, I am not his opponent. So, I want you to take a shot and help me revenge. The ancient night demon gnashed his teeth and said lowly. End of this chapter. Chapter 3863. 6 more arrive today. Revenge. Jian Wushuang glanced at Gu Yimo Jun in shock. He could see that the ancient night demon monk absolutely hated the enemy, or when he said this, he wouldn't grit his teeth like this. And he could also hear that the reason why the ancient night demon hated each other was not because the other party had killed some of his close relatives, but because the ancient night demon had been captured by the other party in the Eternal Dark Prison, passed, and fell into the hands of the other for 1 billion years. In those billion years, the ancient night devil must have suffered the inhuman torture of the other party. However, since the opponent is powerful enough to capture this ancient night devil, how did the ancient night devil escape from the other hand? Jian Wushuang wondered, but didn't ask much. Ancient demon lord, who is your enemy? Jian Wushuang asked. Star demon ancestor, among the many masters on the first floor of Eternal Dark Prison, stands at the top and is one of the most terrible masters, said the ancient night demon king. On the realm, this star demon ancestor is also just the third level is the primary dominating level, but his combat power is extremely terrible and there are many means to emerge. I am also the highest in the second level, and the life-saving means is also good. It can be met by the general third level. Escape. But in the face of this ancestor of the demon, he easily captured me. I had no resistance at all, and he was tortured for billions of years. He finally got bored and let me go. Jian Wushuang frowned. He was still wondering how this ancient night devil ran away from the ancestors of the star demon. The feelings were not escaped but released by the other party. After tormenting for 1 billion years, knowing that the ancient night demon lord hated it, The star demon ancestor still dared to let go of the night demon lord, but how confident the star demon ancestor is in his own strength. In terms of strength, the ancestor of the star devil should also be far better than the lord of the blood sword, but the lord of the blood sword is a disciple of Hong Yun. You can use the power of the eternal dark prison as long as he is standing by you. In front of you, you can easily use the power of the French array to suppress it and kill him. No matter how strong he is, there is no room for resistance in front of you. Ancient Night Demon King said. Jian Wushuang nodded his head, and then said directly, Ancient Demon Lord, I promise you, after I go to the first floor of the Eternal Dark Prison, I will find a way to find the ancestor of the Star Demon and take revenge for you. Thank you. The Ancient Night Demon's eyes lit up suddenly. Well, now you first tell me some information in the first floor of the Eternal Dark Prison. Jian Wushuang smiled. Immediately, the Ancient Night Demon King began to narrate carefully. It was said for 3 days and nights, and at the same time, the Ancient Night Demon King also gave Jian Wushuang a very detailed information of the strong. On the first floor of the Eternal Dark Prison, there are countless powerful men, and after a long period of time, most of them are known and have extremely detailed information. After that, Jian Wushuang went to Hongshe Mountain under the personal guidance of the Ancient Night Demon. Before heading to Hongshishan, Jian Wushuang also greeted the mysterious gods first, telling them that the crisis in the Xingong had been lifted off, and that the ruler of the monarch would immediately go to the Xingtuan to pay the crime. As for the ancient Night Magic Palace, and they will never be hostile to the Star Palace again, so they don't have to worry about it. In fact, even if Jian Wushuang didn't say it, it wouldn't take long for the Xian Shinto people to know a few of them. After all, outside the ancient Night Demon Palace, the scene where Jian Wushuang and the ancient Night Demon battled head to face, but many people saw it, and the news of this battle is bound to spread in this star field. Jian Wushuang and the ancient Night Demon are fighting head-on. Under the premise that all combat power has erupted, the ancient Night Demon is still defeated. This news can cause a huge sensation in this star field, and Jian Wushuang is bound to will replace the ancient Night Demon King to become the strongest recognized in this star field. With this battle as the background, the ancient Night Magic Palace will naturally not be the enemy of the Star Palace in the future. When Jian Wushuang and Xian Shen talked with them, they also told them to go to Hongshishan for a while, so that they didn't have to worry because they would not be in danger. Xian Shinto people are also more at ease. Jian Wushuang also rumored to speak to his wife Leng Rushuang, and with the latter's consent, he really set foot in the Red Rock Mountains. Red Rock Mountain, extremely deep. The Lord of the Blood Sword, I ran out of here from the beginning. The ancient Night Demon Monarch led Sword Wushuang and came to the place where the bloodstone was piled up. In the center of this bloodstone pile, there was a heavy magic circle. This method is extremely esoteric. Jian Wushuang only looked at it but couldn't understand it at all. This legal array should lead to the first floor of the Eternal Dark Prison. The reason why I was able to escape from the Eternal Dark Prison was because I just noticed a space crack nearby, and I immediately seized the opportunity to escape. When I stepped out of this circle, I met a master of your star field, the Horned Owl. I searched the memory of this Horned Lord. He discovered this law formation 160,000 years ago, and has been studying under this law formation. Finally, it was difficult to find a flaw in this law formation, and then he barely opened a connection the gap on the first floor of Eternal Hell, but it didn't take long for it to repair itself, so I can't even go back to Eternal Hell now. The Lord of the Blood Sword, you are a disciple of the inner gate of the Red Cloud. There are tokens of the disciples of the inner gate. I do not know that I can rely on the tokens to open into the Eternal Dark Prison, said the ancient Night Demon. I don't know, but you can try it. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly, even when he took out the token of the disciple inside the Red Cloud. As soon as the token appeared, Jian Wushuang immediately discovered that the token had a certain connection with the heavy law formation in front of him. With the movement of Jian Wushuang's thoughts, the magic formation was slowly operating. After a short time, a complete space channel slowly appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. Ha! It seems that the token of this inner disciple can indeed open the space channel into the eternal dark prison. Jian Wushuang smiled. The Lord of the Blood Sword, there are many strong men in the eternal dark prison, especially the means of many strong men are very terrible. Although you have the disciples' tokens, you must not be careless, or some sudden attacks can be done without you. With the slightest awareness, you will be killed, so that you will not even have the opportunity to take out the tokens to mobilize the power of the magic circle. Guillermo Jun said, I know, thank you for reminding me. Jian Wushuang nodded. In addition, the ancestor of the Star Devil, the ancient night demon, continued. Rest assured, the things I promised will be done for you. Jian Wushuang smiled, even if the spin directly into the space channel. Chapter 3864. The first is more. Eternal dark prison, gray and gray, seeing no light at all. The fate of those prisoners held in the eternal dark prison has been almost destined since they were held in the eternal dark prison. Perhaps when the vein of red cloud still exists and is in its heyday, there will be 1 or 2 lucky prisoners who can be released, but since the vein of red cloud collapsed, this eternal dark prison was abandoned in the Red Stone Mountain. In the eternal dark prison, these prisoners will never see the sun again. Somewhere in the void, a space passage suddenly appeared, and the shape of Jian Wushuang stepped out of this space passage. After he walked out of the space channel, that space channel also converged and dissipated. However, the token of the inner door disciple is in Jian Wu's hands. With this token, Wu Jian can still open a space passage at will and leave here. Here is the first floor of the eternal dark prison. Jian Wushuang looked up, looking around. In the eyes, there is endless void and earth. The whole earth is black and blue, dead and dead, without any vitality. Standing in the void of the eternal dark prison, Jian Wushuang only felt that there were some meager rules of heaven and earth, and even the aura of heaven and earth was much thinner than the outside world. Master Wu is right. The eternal dark prison does not have a cultivation environment at all. Generally, the first level or the second level dominates. If it is held in this first level space, it will barely reach the third level. The series dominates the elementary level, fearing that they can no longer be promoted. Jian Wushuang secretly sighed. The vast universe, the closer to the center, the better the cultivation conditions. This star field, like Jian Wushuang, is located at the most marginal place of the universe. Compared with other parts of the universe, the cultivation environment should be extremely bad, but the cultivation environment of the Eternal is even more than his star field. Dozens of times or even more than 100 times worse. In such an environment, even those who have some talent to dominate, the rules of strength cannot be improved much. According to the ancient Night Demon King, he has been staying in the 9th dark area of the first level of the Dragon domain before, and the Horned Lord reluctantly opened a gap in the first layer of Eternal Dark Prison. He seized the opportunity and escaped immediately. That is to say, the place where the heavy circle is linked in the Red Stone Mountain should be the 9th dark zone of the Dragon domain, which is where I am now. Jian Wushuang secretly said. From the ancient Night Demon King, he has learned some basic conditions in the first floor of this Eternal Dark Prison. The first floor of the Eternal Dark Prison is huge and immense. Its area is vast and even exceeds one side of the astral realm. There are 8 domains in this first floor. These 8 domains refer to 8 huge territories in the first layer. These 8 territories occupy 19th of the entire first layer of space, and they also have the most powerful people. As for the remaining territories and the environment, even worse, few prisoners are willing to go there. And the number of prisoners held in the Eternal Dark Prison is more than hundreds of millions. Among these billions of prisoners, after countless fighting battles, gradually they have created some top performers. On the first floor of the entire Eternal Dark Prison, there are 10 superpowers recognized at the top. These 10 people are called the 10 Kings. Among the 10 Kings, 8 each occupy a large domain and become the lords of this large domain. Even the name of this domain is named by this king. The magic dragon realm where Jian Wushuang is now is the territory occupied by that dragon lord. Although the Lord of Dragons is only worthy of merging the 6 rules to reach the threshold of 3rd level domination, the secret techniques and methods he possesses are extremely good. The understanding of the Tao, including his unique skills, is extremely terrifying. Although the realm is only the 3rd level primary master, but in terms of combat power, it is even stronger than the ordinary 3rd level higher master. Jian Wushuang's mind recalled the words of the ancient night demon. The Lord of the Dragons and the other 9 kings with the same name are extremely scary. On the 1st floor of this eternal dark prison, there is absolutely invincible existence. Except for the competition between the 10 kings, countless others the prisoners on the 1st floor, including a large number of masters who have reached the 3rd level of combat power, must be more than weak in front of the 10 kings. In the domain of the demon dragon, there are 108 dark areas. Each dark area has a lot of strong people. Like the 9th dark prison where I am now, according to the information obtained by the ancient night demon king, there are more than 10. Thousands of prisoners, although most of them are only the highest level of the 2nd level, there are still thousands of people who reach the 3rd level, and the strongest of them are 5, namely the 1,000 Blades Lord, the 9 Penal Monarch, and Bao King, Sword Dome, Blood Rain Lord. The ancient Night Demon King has been in this 9th dark zone, and has been running for more than 10 times. He knew all the powerhouses in the 9th dark zone. Among the 5 strongest people, although there are still many gaps compared to the super strong who is ranked as the king like the Dragon Lord, compared to other prisoners, they are still a lot stronger. According to the ancient demon monarch himself, with his life-saving ability, in the 9th dark zone he encountered any one of the thousands of 3rd level masters, and he was not afraid and could escape. But the 5 Blade Demon Lords, the 9 Penal Monarchs, the Blood Bao King, the Sword Dome, and the Blood Rain Demon, all took out one, but all of them were likely to kill him. The 9th dark zone, the 5 strongest beings, I am afraid that even if the combat power has not reached the 3rd level of the higher dominating level, I am afraid that it is infinitely close. Jian Wushuang sighed. In terms of combat power, he can only be regarded as the equivalent of the ancient night demon, and it should be the highest level of the 2nd series. This is still on the premise of his use of rules and treasures. As for the master of the 3rd series, the strength is definitely stronger past his so, in the first space of the eternal dark prison, the strength is stronger than him, too much, just the 9th dark area of this dragon domain, stronger than him there are many. Of course, even if he is stronger than him, he is a disciple of Hongyun Imai who can mobilize the law of eternal dark prison, so he has stood invincible from the beginning. I came to this eternal largely for the sake of experience, and there are so many strong men in this eternal hell, and the branch has such cheats. I do indeed know the first thing I encountered in this eternal hell. Who is the strong one? Jian Wushuang had a glimmer of expectation in his heart, and immediately he wandered in the gray void. At the same time, the power of his soul, which was not retained at this moment, spread directly. Chapter 3865. Second more. Although the cultivation environment in the eternal dark prison is extremely harsh, the limitation of the soul power of the practitioner is not too great. It is similar to the Red Cloud realm. The soul power of the sword Wushuang is fully released, which can diffuse a range of 100,000 miles. There is no one within 100,000 miles. Jian Wushuang shook his head and didn't care, but continued to move forward. Just half a day later, finally someone. Jian Wushuang's expression moved, and within his soul's power range, he had sensed the presence of a forceful atmosphere. This breath is not much worse than the ancient night devil. And on the ground not far from Jian Wushuang, a figure also rose, and his eyes looked at where Jian Wushuang was. Dare you dare to use the power of your soul to investigate so brazenly? Is it the 9th dark area? The 5 strongest? Or is it one of the top 3 of the thousands who dominate the 3rd series? But judging by the power of the soul, the other party doesn't seem to be too strong. The 2-meter-tall man wearing a blue battle armor and frowning his wings frowned, his heart hesitating. In the eternal dark prison, the killing is too crazy. Countless prisoners must desperately kill others to take possession of each other's treasures, so as to enhance their strength and make it easier for them to survive. Because of this, among these prisoners, except for those extremely powerful outside of the strong, confident group, most people are careful. Like this, it directly releases the power of the soul and unbridled to investigate the surrounding scenes, and few people dare to do so. So when he realized that the power of Jian Wushuang's soul was swept away, the cold man with the twin wings was thinking of escaping for the first time, but he suddenly appeared the power of Jian Wushuang's soul, which was not strong. It could even be said that relatively weak. If it is indeed the top of those prisoners, the power of the soul should not be so weak. Anyway, as long as I don't meet the 5 strongest, even if there is a top of the thousands of third-level masters, I can easily save my life by my means and go and see. The cold-winged man made up his mind and approached the other side slowly. Soon Jian Wushuang's figure appeared in the sight of this cold man. Bearing the Excalibur, so young, this appearance, I have never seen it. Among the many strong men in the 9th Dark Zone, it seems that he does not exist. The cold man frowned, staring closely at the sword Wushuang, and the breath of power in him. The Lord of the Rules? Is it just the breath of the Lord of the Rules? The cold man was taken aback. The first floor of the current Eternal Dark Prison, hundreds of millions of prisoners, can survive the crazy killing of hundreds of Chaos Ages, and any one of them is extremely powerful and arrogant. Generally, the lowest level is the second highest level. Dominated by the first and second series, they will die in this Eternal Dark Prison. It won't be long before they die. This is the case for the first level and even the general second level. And the master of a rule even came to the Eternal Dark Prison? What secret technique did he use to hide the breath of my divine power, so that I couldn't cut it, or was he the ruler himself? The cold man couldn't be sure, but soon his eyes were cold. Whether he is the ruler or not, anyway, he can be sure that he is not one of the 5 strongest in the 9th Dark Zone. In this case, I have nothing to fear. The cold man stretched his wings behind him and turned into a black streamer, appearing in front of Jian Wushuang like lightning. Is this my first opponent when I come to Eternal Hell? Jian Wushuang smiled and stared at the cold man in front of him. The wings are born with a back, and the air is extremely cold. With this look, he should be the master of the wing family. In the swordless hands, there is an extremely detailed information of the strong man given by the ancient night demon. More than 90% of the prisoners in the 9th Dark Area are recorded in it. The wing leader in front of him is naturally also on the strong information. According to the information given by the ancient night demon king, this wing dominates the many prisoners in the 9th Dark Zone. The strength should be the lowest. When it comes to melee killing, he has just reached the peak of the second level. No, but his life-saving means is very good, slightly stronger than the ancient night devil. Because of this, he can always survive in this Eternal Dark Prison. I've been in this 9th Dark Zone for so long. Most of the strongest in this 9th Dark Zone, I have seen or known, but I have never heard of you. Staring at Jian Wushuang. My name is the Blood Sword, and I just came to this demon dragon realm not long ago. You naturally don't know me. Sword Wushuangdo. It turned out to be a strong one from other domains. The dominating master nodded secretly. The first floor of the Eternal Dark Prison is too large, and the number of prisoners who are still alive is endless. Some of them like to roam around, such as from one large area to another large area. This wing master has been running in the 9th Dark Area of the Dragon Domain. He knows some of the strong in the 9th Dark Zone and even other dark areas in the Dragon Domain, but if he is a strong person in other large regions except the Dragon Domain, he knows not much. Blood Sword, are you the master, or the master of the rules? Sea Master asked. Did you know this battle against me? Jian Wushuang smiled. Then you will die. The Prince of Sea is no longer nonsense, and he saw a dark flash of light suddenly on his body, and the wings of his back shrank fiercely. It was originally a human practitioner, but it turned into a huge monster with wings in a blink of an eye. A sizzling hissing sounded. This hissing sound was accompanied by a sonic attack and rushed into the soul of Jian Wushuang's soul for the first time. This should be the body that is dominated by the wing. Jian was eyes fixed, the body was exposed at the beginning, and the strongest killing trick was displayed. It seems that all the practitioners in the eternal dark prison are not soft-hearted. Seniors. Jian Wushuang rolled his divine power. Facing this wing master, he wouldn't try it slowly as he did in the ancient Night Demon Palace against the ancient Night Demon King. As soon as this wing master dominated, he went all out, and Sword Wushuang naturally burst out his strongest combat power instantly, even the blades used. At this moment, he also directly used the magic weapon Wu Crying Sword. The trace of the universe's laws that Wushuang understands also instantly merges into swordsmanship at this moment. Dear, click in and give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that a beautiful wife was found at the end of the new score. Chapter 3866. Third more. The monster that the wing dominated was extremely fast, and just a flicker appeared before the sword without two sides. Jian Wushuang directly stabbed a stab, and the surging divine power came out along the arm, so that there was a shock in the space. The wing master turned around swiftly, avoiding the sword with great flexibility, and the moment he turned around, the pair of wings behind him suddenly turned into a terrible blade, hissing. The air was cut relentlessly, the layers of Daoguang, which are layered on each other, cut directly towards the swordless double head. Wing sword? And fast. Jian Wushuang was startled. It was a surprise that CE's move was unexpected, but his response was not slow. Get away! The sword Wushuang held the Wu Crying Excalibur, which triggered the cosmic laws that came with the Wu Crying Excalibur, and the immense and swift sword swept straight down. Clang. The sword light containing terror force hits the wings of that wing dominator at the same time, making a sound of metal impact. The wing dominator only felt a sting from his wings, but his body quickly retreated. Retreating to the surrounding void, the wing leader could not help looking at the wings behind him, and saw a gap faintly appeared at the point where he had just fought with Jian Wushuang Jianfeng. Vaguely blood flowed out from that gap. How can it be? A glimmer of horror flashed in the eyes of the master of the wing. My tribe, wing tribe, the hardest part of the whole body is the pair of wings, which have been tried and tested by me. After so many years in prison, I have killed countless times with people, and I do know how many times I use this wing to fight against the enemy, whether it is to resist the opponent's attack damage, or to collide directly with the opponent's magic soldier. My pair of wings have never been hurt, but now. Just one swell, did my wings hurt? CE dominated in horror, and could not help looking at the sword with no sword in his hands. What level is the Excalibur in your hand? CE dominated. You try a few more times with your wings and you don't know. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly, followed by a sharp rush. Put. Ha! I saw a row of mighty jiangwangs displayed from the swordless hands one after another, directly covering the front wings of the wings. The main body of the wing swayed, relying on his own body, to shuttle from this sword light. After breaking through the sword light blockade, his shape turned into a black lightning, and he slammed into the sword unparalleled. C dominated the unbelief, and this time he still used his pair of wings to attack. Only this time, he only used one wing, but it was the strongest sword he created in the eternal dark prison for so many years. Buried. There was also a low howl in the mouth of the master of the wing. This low howl accompanied the sonic attack, and madly hit Jian Wushuang's soul to understand the sea. But Jian Shuang is a perfect creature. On the soul, unless it is an attack that ignores the soul and directly targets the consciousness, it is invalid. This sonic attack can't affect Jian Wushuang at all. Jian Wushuang still wields the sword in his hand, but this time he casts a hazy look. Wow! The hazy sword shadow invaded, and in the blink of an eye, it turned into a full mist. But in that mist, there was a heartbreaking cold light. Clang! It was another fierce collision. This time, The wing master found that the pain from his wings was more severe, and the gap that appeared at the collision with the sword front was also larger. His body exploded again. But this time he felt it from a close distance, feeling the true power of the sword with no sword in his hands. The rule of treasure is what you have in your hand. It turns out to be the rule of magic sword. The voices dominated by CE are a bit harsh, and they are even more shocked than ever. The rule of treasure is the treasure on the first floor of the eternal hell, which is definitely a legendary treasure. Not to mention the average prisoner dominates, even if it is the 10 strongest kings recognized in the first floor of the eternal hell, in their hands, not necessarily possess the rule of treasure. But now, this person who doesn't know where to come from, and who just emits the rule's breath, has the rule of law? No wonder his feathers collided with his sword, and there was damage. No matter how hard his wings are, he is only comparable to the strongest treasure. How can he compare with the rule of treasure? Not only has the rule of treasure, but his swordsmanship also contains a supreme cosmic law. His swordsmanship is also extremely powerful, and his combat power is definitely stronger than mine. The master of sea knew it. He can't even care about Jian Wushuang even realizing a trace of the law of the universe now. He wandered for so long in the eternal dark prison, knowing that the eternal dark prison is dangerous. The moment he knew that the man in front of him was overwhelming and knew that he was still above him, he had already made a decision. Escape! There was almost no hesitation in the of sea. Seeing that the situation is not good, fleeing directly, this is the life-saving way in eternal dark prison. I saw that sea dominated the huge monster that was originally transformed, but at this moment the volume was abruptly reduced, but the speed of bursting out instantly was extremely amazing. This speed is much faster than the average second-level master, and even faster than the average third-level master. The wing master was still fighting with Jian Wushuang the previous moment, and the next moment has escaped thousands of miles, leaving Jian Wushuang no space to chase in an instant. It's so fast, it's no wonder that the speed of this wings can survive in the eternal dark prison. This speed alone, I am afraid, will make most of the third level helpless. Jian Wushuang smiled indifferent. Seeing Ce dominate the escape, he did not chase. Because even if he wanted to chase, he couldn't catch up. However, in this eternal dark prison, he wants to kill this wing master. Even if the speed of this wing master is 10 times 100 times faster, he can't escape. The wing is dominated by Ce, you still stay. Jian Wushuang opened his mouth with a smile, and when he turned the palm of his hand, a special token had already appeared in his hand. The wing master, although fleeing, has been paying attention to the movement of the swords in the rear. When Jian Wushuang was found standing there and had no intention of chasing him, he breathed a sigh of relief. But suddenly he heard the laughter issued by Jian Wushuang, and at the same time he saw that Jian Wushuang took out something. What did this blood sword come up with? Ce dominated the sword and stared at what was taken out of his hands. He had seen that it was a token. But this token, it instantly shocked him. Chapter 3867. Fourth more. Hong Yun Yime's token? No, that's impossible. Ce dominated the anger. At first, he committed a heinous sin in Hong Yun Yimei. After that, a disciple of Hong Yun Yimei himself took him into this eternal dark prison. The disciples of Hong Yun Yimei did not know him. But there are hundreds of people in Hong Yun's veins who have not come to eternal dark prison. Hundreds of chaos ages haven't detained newcomers in this eternal dark prison. This led to a rumor circulating in the eternal dark prison, saying that the vein of Hong Yun had been completely destroyed, and their eternal dark prison had also been abandoned. After so many years, many prisoners in the eternal dark prison have long believed this rumor. But Ce's dominion never imagined that the person in front of him would be carrying a disciple of Hong Yun's disciple, and he was a disciple of Hong Yun's disciple? What is even more frustrating is that he knows the privileges of Hong Yun Yimei's disciples in the eternal dark prison. With his life-saving means, as long as he does not meet the 5 strongest in the 9th dark zone, he will be killed by reason. However, no matter how strong his life-saving ability is, in the hands of a disciple of Hong Yun, he has no effect at all. Sure enough, Jian Wushuang directly started. Relying on the tokens of the inner disciples in his hands, the sword unparalleled guided a trace of power in this eternal dark prison circle. Suddenly I saw the surrounding world shaking, and then a horrible power came and acted directly on the body of Ce dominated the madly fleeing figure, and stopped on the spot. Then the whole person fell as if the power of the French array rolled down directly to the ground, and finally fell heavily on the ground below, lying there, unable to move in the slightest. Master wings dominate. Jian Wushuang's figure flew over at this moment. You are not a prisoner from other large realms, you are from the outside world, you are a talented disciple of the Red Cloud. Ce dominated his head reluctantly, his face full of anger, resentment, and despair. Detained in eternal dark prison for hundreds of chaotic periods, this wing lord dominates the natural resentment against Hong Yun. I thought the Red Cloud was gone, but now it seems that this is obviously not the case. But now, he was repressed by the other party by relying on a disciple of Hong Yun's disciples to mobilize the Falun Gong to suppress his death. In such scenes, how can he not despair? Sword Wing Master, I will give you 2 ways to let you choose. Jian Wu's eyes calmed, overlooking the winged sword lord on the ground. The first way is to submit to me for 100,000 years. Not only can I spare your life, but I can also take you out of eternal dark prison and get rid of you as a prisoner. After 100,000 years, you return to freedom, the universe is big, you can go anywhere. Jian Wushuangdo. The reason why it is only 100,000 years, not millions of years, is that Jian Wushuang can relax the conditions. After all, in his view, the demon star threatened the gods in the early days immensely. Within 100,000 years, the army of the demon stars must have killed, and his deities and the demon stars will surely separate the victory and defeat. The world is defeated, then I am afraid I must die. In the beginning, if the kingdom of God prevailed, he would be able to travel to the deeper part of the universe with peace of mind. It doesn't matter if the prisoners are not with him, so there is no difference between the period of 100,000 years and millions of years. Submit to you? Ce dominated and stared at Jian Wushuang. Of course, your strength is not much weaker than me. In the eternal dark prison, as a disciple of the Red Cloud, I can suppress you with the help of the eternal dark prison law, but once you leave the eternal dark prison with your ability, you can leave at any time, and I can't stop you, so make sure in case, I will leave a trace of imprint in the source of your soul. Jian Wushuang said. If you leave the imprint of the soul in the origin of the soul of the other party, you can easily grasp the life and death of the other party. Unless the perfect level of life is like Jian Wushuang himself, the annihilation of the soul can be immediately restored, otherwise he can easily kill the other soul in a single thought. Where is the second way? Siest. The second way, no matter how you choose, is a dead end. Jian Wushuang said directly. Ah. The Prince of Ce laughed, and his laughter was crazy, even with endless iciness. Blood Sword, you might as well look down on me. My wing is from the E-Wing family. The people of the E-Wing family have never feared death. You want me to surrender to you, and even let you leave a mark on the origin of my soul. From then on, you are in charge of your life and death. That is simply a dream. Don't say that you are a disciple of Hong Yun and have a hatred against me. Even if you are not a person of Hong Yun and have no grudges with me, I will never give my life and death to you for my living. Master Ce, you have to think clearly after all, only 100,000 years? Jian Wushuang frowned, trying to persuade. Let alone 100,000 years, even if it is only 1 year, 1 day, I will not allow it. My wing has been wandering in the eternal dark prison for so long, I haven't seen anything. I don't care about my life and death. Now, you are a mess of red clouds and veins, and you want me to surrender? Go for your spring and autumn dreams. Ce dominated the laughter, and his eyes suddenly became scarlet. And Jian Wushuang immediately found that this wing dominated the madness of the divine power in the body. Soul burns? The sword has no double-sided color, and quickly controls the eternal dark prison array power to suppress it. But Jian Wushuang could only suppress the actions of CE's domination, but he could not stop the riots of divine power and soul in his domination. Aha! The Wing Master dominated the painful absorption. His soul was burning madly at a speed of 100 times, and only a moment his soul was completely burned out, and the vitality of the Wing Master was completely cut off. Died. I would rather burn my soul to commit suicide than to submit to me. Jian Wushuang frowned. He thought he had relaxed his requirements. As long as the other party surrendered to him for 100,000 years, he could take him out of this eternal dark prison without having to live the life of a lawless prisoner. The Wing leader should agree to come down. But as a result, this Wing dominated, but died. It is better to commit suicide than to surrender. It seems that the prisoners in the eternal dark prison are not as easy to conquer as I imagined. The sword has no double-sided dignity. He came to eternal underworld for two purposes. The first is to practice yourself and improve your strength. The second is to try to conquer some of the strongest in the eternal dark prison. These conquered strong men, he can take them out of eternal dark prison, and then fight for the early gods. Emperor Jiutian. Chapter 3868. Fifth More. Jian Wushuang's idea is very good, and the 100,000-year deadline is not high. In fact, for most powerful people in the universe, they cannot accept the imprint of the other person at the origin of their soul. Because that's all about giving your life and death to the other party's control. Naturally, you don't dare to violate the orders of the other party. Although Jian Wushuang's promise is only 100,000 years, what if he kept it? The imprint of the soul has been left, even if Jian Wushuang has been trending in the endless years in the future. They also dare not resist. These prisoners prefer to stay in the eternal dark prison compared to this kind of day that is completely controlled by the other party. Even if there is no day and no madness here, even they would rather die than want to be like this puppet. Moreover, there is another most important reason, which is the identity and strength of Jian Wushuang. If Jian Wushuang is a real strongman, don't be strong. As long as there are 10 kings in the first space, they have absolute strength to crush all prisoners, and then persecute the other to surrender. These prisoners are also willing. After all, they was convinced by the opponent's strength. However, sword warriors are different. Sword warriors' own strength is not much stronger than that of the Wing Master. They only rely on the tokens of the disciples of Hongyun to suppress the other party. This will not convince the other party, and the prisoners in this eternal dark prison are all it was from Hongyun that he was detained. These prisoners have spent hundreds of chaos in the eternal dark prison. One by one, they have a deep hatred for the Jade, and Jian Wushuang, as a disciple of Hongyun, wants to subdue them. Of course, it is even more difficult. Although knowing that it is very difficult to conquer, Jian Wushuang is not in a hurry. After all, this is just the first prisoner he meets. There are countless prisoners in this eternal dark prison, and not everyone will die like this Wing Master. I came to this eternal dark prison mainly to experience and improve my strength. As for the strong, it is not anxious to conquer the strong, and you can take it slowly. Next, if I meet those prisoners again, unless the opponent is too strong, I can only use the power of the array to save my life. Otherwise, I will try not to mobilize the power of the array. After all, move the array frequently. If it is powerful, the movement will be a little bigger. I am afraid that someone like me who is a red cloud and a disciple will roam in the dark prison and it will spread. In the future, I will roam in this eternal dark prison. It will not be so easy. Jian Wushuang secretly said. He has made up his mind to experience and conquer the strong. He focuses on the experience first. As for conquering the strong, when he is almost done, he is going to conquer. As soon as CE's master died, his body and Qian Kunji were left behind. Jian Wushuang took away the Qian Kun ring dominated by CE first, and his consciousness was immediately investigated. With this investigation, Jian Wushuang's eyes lightened. This wing dominates, and he is trapped in eternal dark prison for a long time. There are hundreds of times of chaos. In such a long time, There may be a lot of masters who died in his hands. Otherwise, he is the most precious treasure in the world. There will never be so many. Jian Wushuang sighed softly. At a glance of his consciousness, he found that the Qianquan ring dominated by this wing was the strongest treasure, and there were more than 20 pieces, and there were treasure armors, domains, repressions, etc., although there was no such high level the strongest treasure, but still very amazing. This is only just the strongest treasure. As for the top and peak treasures, it is even more numerous. This prisoner in the eternal dark prison is so rich? Jian Wushuang also exclaimed. It is indeed too rich. This wing is dominated by the prisoners who are living in the first space. He can always survive, mainly because of his life-saving ability, but I am afraid that there are not many prisoners. He killed himself, but he still has more than 20 of the most powerful treasures. If you kill the more powerful prisoners, Jian Wushuang's gains will certainly be greater. Yes, the wings dominated by this wing are also a good treasure. Jian Wushuang glanced at the corpse dominated by Ce, and waved his hand directly to cut off the whole pair of wings dominated by Ce. Then he continued to wander in the surrounding void. In the 9th dark area, the prisoners exceeded 100,000, and the branches were extremely dense. Jian Wushuang so unscrupulously released the power of the soul to roam in the 9th dark zone. It is easy to meet other prisoners. Only 2 hours after Ce's death, Jian Wushuang met another prisoner. This prisoner is superior to Ce's master in terms of strength, which is comparable to the ancient Night Demon King. After the encounter, the two met directly without a word. Jian Wushuang also took out his own peak fighting power and fought fiercely. You must know that Jian Wushuang broke out with all his strength and relied on the rule of arcana and his sword skills. This prisoner has the same combat power as the ancient Night Demon King, but is slightly weaker than the ancient Night Demon King in the method of close killing. To fight against Jian Wushuang at the beginning he was still fighting, but gradually he was suppressed by Jian Wushuang. Knowing that he was not an opponent of Jian Wushuang, the prisoner left with a look of astonishment. Jian Wushuang did not use the array power to keep it this time, but continued to rush. In a flash, Jian Wushuang has been in the eternal dark prison for 13 days. In the 13 days he encountered 18 people in total, but only 12 of them actually fought against him. The other 6 found that Jian Wushuang dared to release the power of the soul so unscrupulously. Seeing that Jian Wushuang's soul power is not too strong, but still far away, he did not meet Jian Wushuang. And the 12 people who fought against the sword unparalleled are also only the highest level of the second level. The weakest is also about the same as the wing master, and the strong one is even better than the ancient night demon. All have to be a little stronger, but the 12 people who fought against Jian Wushuang, except for C, who died at the beginning, the other 11 people found that they couldn't help Jian Wushuang and chose to leave. But today, Jian Wushuang encountered the 19th person, who is a master who reached the 3rd rank. Named Deer Worm Demon. The Deer Worm ancestor, among the thousands of 3rd-level masters in this 9th dark area, is a relatively ordinary one. He has a strong ability to protect the body, but his ability to attack close is more general. The strong realm is the most precious one, and the realm of suppressing the realm is very strong. The 9-penal monarch who once faced one of the 5 strongest people in this 9th dark area can calmly retreat. Jian Wushuang looked at the blood-covered man who appeared in front of him, but there was a hint of excitement in his eyes. End of this chapter. Chapter 3869. 6 more arrived today. Jian Wushuang came to this eternal dark prison for 13 days, and the 18 prisoners he met along the way, whether he had dealt with him or not, were only the masters of the 2nd level and the 3rd level. The master of numbers, this deer worm ancestor, is still the 1st. I went to the eternal dark prison to practice. This was to fight with stronger men. The master of the level of the ancient night demon is strong, but it can't really bring me too much pressure. Zhu, as the master of the 3rd series, should have a much stronger combat ability than the ancient night demon king, but it is a suitable challenge for the opponent. Jian Wushuang has a hint of expectation in his heart. Master of rules? When Jian Wushuang looked at the deerworm demon, this handsome cold-blooded male deerworm deer was also looking at Jian Wushuang. Eternal Dark Prison is generally held by the first or second series of masters. After hundreds of chaos eras, these masters have either died in the midst of crazy killings, or their strength has increased, and they all reach the top level of the second level. Even if a few did not reach it, their life-saving ability would be extremely strong. But in this eternal dark prison, how can there be a ruler? Did he deliberately hide the breath of divine power, and his secret technique to hide the breath is so brilliant that I can't even see it through? The deer ancestor frowned. Deer worm ancestor, can you fight me? Jian Wushuang looked at the deer worm ancestor in front of him. Sir, most of the prisoners in the eternal dark prison know most of them. Although I can't recognize you, you can survive in the eternal dark prison until now. The strength must not be weak. There is no need to deliberately hide the breath of divine power and pretend to be a ruler. Wait? Dear ancestor murmured coldly. Pretend. Jian Wushuang smiled dumbly. Dear worm ancestor, needless to say nonsense, or fight against me for a victory or defeat, or disappear quickly in front of me, I will not be difficult for you. Crazy! The dear ancestor's voice was cold. Even the 5 strongest people in this 9th dark zone are not qualified to make me disappear from the front. What are you? I want to see, where are you? Qualification to come, dare to say this. I also want to know how powerful your dear worm ancestor is. Jian Wushuang smiled, but his figure was already floating forward. Jian Wushuang shot directly, and was the first shot. But the moment he set off, there was a buzzing bluish, suddenly swept across in all directions. Each of these cyan streamers is extremely dazzling, exuding a unique breath, and in the blink of an eye, it has condensed into a huge shuttle, covering the sky and the sky. Jian Wushuang immediately noticed a powerful oppression and restraint force acting on him, making him unable to sink in shape. Is Qianshuiji? Jian Wushuang frowned. Thousands of shuttles, the best in the strongest category of treasures, is also one of the strongest treasures in the hands of deerworms. This deer ancestral ancestor is said to have 2 pieces of the most powerful treasures in the highest level. One is the 1,000 shuttle world, and the other is the armor he wears. As for his attack on the magic soldier, he has not yet reached need for level. The field is oppressed, so let's see who is stronger in the field. Jian Wushuang laughed heartily, and the moment the voice fell, a large block of black magic light swept out. The triple magic light mirror, waning, burst out. On the level of the treasure, the triple magic mirror is also the strongest treasure of the highest level, and it is not weaker than the 1,000 shuttle world of the demon ancestor. In terms of divine power, the deer worm ancestor is naturally stronger and logically stronger. However, Jian Wushuang has realized a trace of the laws of the universe. By the realization of the laws of the universe, he evokes the field of magic light. The power is also stronger, and the two are madly attacking each other. In a short time, they each formed to field each other, and the chambers competed. You even have such a domineering field class treasure? The deer worm ancestor looked at Jian Wushuang in surprise. I have more than that. Jian Wushuang smiled indifferently, and a large amount of gloom spread among the huge pair of wings behind him. Shuangguang smashed Tianyi, and Shuangguang realm unfolded. Shuangguang realm is also a domain-type means, and it is also controlled by Jian Wushuang. Under the control of Jian Wushuang, this Shuangguang realm is immediately combined with the magical light realm, and the power of the magical light realm soars in time. Banging! The field soared into the sky, forming the Tao Tao field ocean, and madly attacked the past of the thousands of shuttle circles of the deer, insect, and ancestor. Just now, it was able to compete with the magic light field, which was quite 1,000 shuttles. At this moment, it was extremely shocked, and the entire field began to fall. What? The deer worm ancestor was startled, and frowned at Jian Wushuang. I have been fighting for many years in the eternal dark prison. I have played against the masters of countless 2nd and 3rd ranks. In the process, I said that most of the fields were suppressed by me. Only a few can compete with my field chambers. As for those who have suppressed my field positively, you are the third one for a long time. However, the field is just a supplementary means. Your field is strong, but I don't know if the combat power is the same. The dear ancestor's voice was cold. A purple shuttle appeared in the palm of his right hand, and the surging divine power condensed on his body. Kill! With a low drink, the dear worm ancestor shook and appeared directly in front of Jian Wushuang. Even though he is now being suppressed by the magic light field, but the dominance of the third level, this field is not too strong to suppress him, and his combat power can still play more than 90%. Call out. A scream of loud air sounded. The long shuttle in the hands of the dear worm ancestor suddenly turned into a purple horror. This purple horror was extremely dazzling and eye-catching. So fast. Jian Wushuang showed a hint of surprise. Obviously being suppressed by his field, the speed of the deerworm tribe's shuttle turned out to be so fast, and the combat power of the third series was really extraordinary. Jian Wushuang also immediately shot. In his hand, Wu crying Excalibur issued a faint sound of swordsing. Above, the shuttle shook slightly, but immediately it produced a special strength, and it rippled, like a black hole that swallowed the sky and swept the sword. Broken! Jian Wushuang whispered in a low voice, Wu Weiss magic sword power can show, a hazy sword shadow invaded instantly. The strongest sword skill created by Jian Wushuang, hazy. Chapter 3870. The first is more. The sword shadow power broke out, and the black hole that swallowed the world suddenly shrank and then disappeared. The dear worm ancestor looked up at Jian Wushuang in amazement. The rule is precious? Do you still understand a little rule of the universe? At this moment, the dear worm ancestor had set off a huge wave in his heart, but immediately he calmed down. Kill you, this rule of treasure is mine. The demon ancestor of the deer bug is soaring into the sky, and the shuttle in his hand is directly turned into a sharp purple arc at this moment. Oh, it's fast and completely unclear. These purple arcs directly attacked Xiang Jianshuang's head. Jian Wushuang also waved the Wu weapon sword in his hand. Regarding the speed of swordsmanship, he was not under the shuttle. However, Jian Wushuang is only the master of the rules, relying on the perfect level of life, adding many secret skills, and the rule of treasure in terms of power. He also reached the threshold of dominating the second level. The deer worm ancestor, however, is the third level master, and it is much stronger than Jian Wushuang in divine power. Clang, clang, clang. After only a few collisions, Jian Wushuang did not crush at all, and looked rather embarrassed. It is indeed the master of the third series, great. Jian Wushuang marveled, but the excitement in his eyes did not diminish in the slightest. This strength just allows me to test that trick. The sword unparalleled took the initiative. Swow. Swords are sweeping like waves. The void in front of him seemed to be plunged into a continuous sea, and countless waves of layers spread endlessly. These waves are sometimes violent, rolling up huge waves. Sometimes soft, as if the spring breeze hit the face. From time to time, it was like a mighty army. The sky's sword-like ocean, surging and surging, completely covered the deer, worm, and demon ancestors in front of it. From the beginning, the demon ancestor did not care about this sword technique performed by Swordmaster. He waved the shuttle at will, and the shuttle picked up the mighty power and easily crushed the waves. But a wave of a heavy wave was crushed, and a wave of a second wave was swept immediately, a wave of a second wave was defeated, and a wave of a third wave came again. There are endless waves of shocking waves. After dozens of waves rushed. This sword art is endless? The deer worm ancestor frowned, and he also found that the sword wave that blindly defeated the table and killed him was useless at all. You can only use the force to break the method, directly defeat the sword Wushuang the sword to completely break the crack, and disperse the surrounding sword art mood. Purple light. The demon ancestor murmured, and the purple shuttle in his hand suddenly burst into a dazzling purple light. This purple light is like a huge purple sun appearing between heaven and earth, shining. And in the center of this purple sun, a horrific power burst out. The strongest trick created by the deer ancestor, Ziguang. This move is also one of the capitals that the deer worm ancestors can spend hundreds of times in the eternal dark prison. Banging! This bright purple light directly dissipated the surrounding sky waves, and in a single breath wiped out most of the sky's sword-like ocean, but failed to completely wipe out the sword-like ocean. The sword Wushuang divine power tumbled down, the annihilation of the sword of the ocean. Half of the sky once again rose into the sky, the endless sword of waves, still unbridled impact. What? The deer ancestor's face finally changed. One of his strongest moves failed to completely break the swordplay? And this swordplay is obvious. As long as you don't break open, you can recover instantly. The waves are really endless. Although his demon ancestors are extremely powerful, he can easily defeat the waves of assaults, but in the face of the endless waves, he only has a dumbfounded role. The deer worm ancestor immediately wanted to get rid of the scope of this sword-like ocean, but Jinny Ocean took him as the core and swept away from all directions, so he couldn't get rid of it at all. He can only fall into the midst of this sword-like ocean, passively resisting the waves from the surroundings. In the Red Cloud realm, using wave light, one of the strongest swordsmanships created by many opportunities, not originally to kill the enemy, but to entangle and trap each other. This deer ancestor is caught in my wave light swordsmanship, unless he can absolutely crushing power, with a force to break the law, completely defeated my sword style, or even if he has a monstrous ability, he can only be entangled by my sword-like ocean, and cannot escape. Looking at the deer worm ancestor who was constantly trying to break free in the ocean of swords, a smile appeared on Jian Wushuang's face. He created the 3 strongest swords. The hazy attack power is the strongest and is used to kill the enemy. Guardian of the Earth is a body sword, used for defense. And this wave of lightsaber is to entangle and trap the enemy. This move is not very destructive, but the ability to entangle the enemy is extremely good. Although this deer ancestor is the master of the 3rd level, he is best at the field and body protection ability. As for his killing ability and attacking power, it is not very strong. Now he is being used in the field. Under the premise of the complete suppression of Jian Wushuang, this deer worm ancestor could not break the wave lightsaber at one time, and naturally, it was only the sword that had been trapped by Jian Wushuang's sword-like ocean. The deer worm ancestor has been trying to break free in the Sword of the Sea, but after exerting all his powers, he can't get rid of it. After a while, he finally gave up. Aggrieved, this battle was really aggrieved. The deer worm ancestor also had a hint of anger in his heart. While resisting the sword wave from the surrounding impact, his eyes locked the sword unparalleled in front of Tao Tao. This man is obviously inferior to me, but he is good at this entangled swordsmanship, but he is very difficult. I am a little worse at attacking power and can't break his swordsmanship. There is no way to take him. I knew he had the rule of treasure in his hands, and I couldn't get it. The deer ancestor shook his head. Sir, stop. The deer ancestor suddenly said, his voice low. Stop it? Jian Wushuang, why? Although I can't help you, do you still want to kill me with this sword skill? The deer worm ancestor looked at Jian Wushuang coldly. Jian Wushuang smiled dumbly. Indeed, his wave of lightsaber is very powerful, but it is only used to entangle the trapped enemy. As for relying on this sword to kill the deer ancestors, that is a joke. The deer worm ancestor is the master of the 3rd rank, and in the 3rd rank of the master, it is also famous for its field and body protection ability. His body protection method is much stronger than the attack and kill method. To kill him, even this is the case. The 5 strongest people in the 9th Dark Zone cannot do it. Unless they mobilize the power of the French array, they will definitely not do it. Emperor Jotun, that you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.